Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Presented by Carolina Lightweights. Come grip with us. When the action begins in the studio, our referees for tonight's event are Elgato Azul and Carolina Real Streamers. For the slime lovers in attendance and YouTube and Facebook users from around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live from the Elgato Azul TV studio in Louisville, Texas, it's time! What's up, slime lovers? I'm Chris, Elgato Azul. This is my co-partner tonight. It's going to be Brandon Ladd. Jamie can't make the show. Rebecca's just got out of surgery tonight. She's going to be in recovery, so he's not going to make the show. But everybody say a little prayer for Jamie and Rebecca. And it's nothing major, but anytime you got to go under the knife, it's not good. So let's see who's in here. Brandon. We got Pontoon Jody. We got Realville Catfishing. Welcome. We got my hometown boy, Jeff Martin. Welcome in, buddy. Got Operation Vets with Nets. What's up, Rich? Welcome, partner. We got Jeff. Oh, I already said Jeff. He's getting repeated. We got Trinity Outdoors, one of our Carolina Lakeweights boys. We got the one and only Becca Mud Tramp. Welcome in, Becca. We got Rippin' Lips Fishing. Welcome, partner. We got Anglerholics, another one of our Carolina Lakeweights teammates. We got Lance McCouguy. Welcome in, Lance. We got the King of Tennessee, Micah Burkhart. What's up, bro? We got Jeremy's Tournament Cats. Welcome in, Jeremy. Jeremy's another one of our Carolina Lakeweights teammates. And that's it for now. So, again, y'all keep Jamie and Rebecca in your prayers. But welcome to the show, Brandon.
Appreciate you having me on.
So we got Brandon on tonight. He's a Tennessee boy, fishes the Cumberland River.
Cumberland River.
Is that where you're on tonight?
Yeah, that's where I'm at tonight. I'm up in the narrow part of it tonight.
So Brandon, he's one of the best flathead fishermen I know. He's probably one of the most consistent big fish flathead guys you'll ever see. He's fishing the Cumberland River tonight, so he says he's set up on a tank. We may get to see him hang one of these Cumberland River beasts. So welcome in, Fisherman Sid. So Brandon and I are teammates at Carolina Lakeweights. He's on our pro staff. We're teammates over at Mad Cats. He's pro staff for Mad Cats, and then we're also teammates at Smackdown Rod Holders. So we're linked up in 3 different ways. Brandon's one of the first guys that welcomed me into the Mad Cats family before I was even on the team. Great guy, awesome angler, good teammate. So appreciate you coming on tonight with us, Brandon. It's going to be cool, man. Hopefully you can hang a monster.
I'm definitely going to try. I got 8 skipjack heads out right now. It says I will.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get to see one of those monsters one of those rods go down. What, you just switched everything over to all orange. What are you rolling with back there?
I got all the orange carbines, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I love the carbines.
So, how you like them?
I like them a lot, man. You can feel everything a fish does with them and still has the backbone to bring them in.
Yeah, they are super sensitive. I like that grippy handle, whatever they're calling that grippy handle. Thing's nice. It's different.
Yeah, the handles are great. The handles is what I like because skipjack, like everything else, shad, skipjack, they really slimy. Man, when I'm baiting, I'll just show you.
Facebook user said them 3.0 Signature Series rods are sweet. I'd agree. If I didn't have a bunch of gremlins and goblins, I'd be getting me some. It's coming into our big fish season, so I'll be. Oh
Them
yeah,
right there is key. Right now in October, November, you want fresh skipjack. Now in the spring, early spring, May, somewhere like that, I'll use live bait. But during October and November, I use nothing but cut bait. Cut bait is key on the Cumberland at this time of year.
so you like cut bait for big flatheads?
Flatheads here, yeah, flatheads here really enjoy the big skipjack head. I sure hope like heck this one eats.
Toying around with the screen so we can see them rods a little better.
Yeah, I don't know what's up. I got that new Z Fold 5, so it's like my tripod won't hold it wide open where it'll.
It looks pretty clear though. It's showing them rods good. Did you turn on a black light?
I turned on a blue light, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can see they're starting to light up.
Yeah, I ain't far from dark. I got about another 15 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, it looks like it's starting to get dark on you. So you're in the.
Yeah, but I got a front coming in tomorrow, so I'm hoping these fish are eating.
Yeah, you got some good things working in your favor. You say you didn't have a whole lot of current, but you got a little.
You know, this is the one day they didn't. They got 2 generators running from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. They're pushing about 14,000 CFM, and that might be right at a mile an hour right now, a little bit less.
That'll
but
work.
It's going to drop back.
So when they turn those turbines on, that pretty much gets them going, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, big time. So I had that 3-hour period, which I didn't get off work till 5 o'clock. So I had to run home, jump in the truck, get everything ready. At least I'm only about 15 minutes from the river.
So my buddy Jeff said, wouldn't it be nice if we had skipjacks, Chris? And I'll tell you what, my buddy Tim, Catfish Tim, when he goes to Alabama, he brings a whole freezer of those back. He's like, you want some skipjacks? I'm like, hell, we don't have skipjacks here. I'm just going to catch them with what I get in my net. But he catches them on skipjacks here. He said they're about as good as anything. Hungry blue cat will eat damn near anything. So
the oil on a skipjack, man, is really, really great.
They're oily, but I'm wondering, because I know a lot of skipjack guys use frozen bait, and
now my personal best came off of froze skipjack.
That's crazy because you can go fish like, gizzard shad or pretty much anything else. It's just not going to catch them as much as a fresh bloody piece. Why? That skipjack's just oily and they like that.
Yeah, I guess so, because we vacuum seal them pretty good. So try to get them where they'll vacuum seal and seal without getting air in them. And they usually last.
I wish I could use frozen bait. That would be.
I told myself I was going to use froze today, but I took myself last night. Me and my brother went up to the dam. I think we ended up catching about 45, 50 skipjack. We froze some for this weekend.
Is always best, I gotta believe.
Yeah, no, fresh is definitely best.
Fisherman Sid says best thing is dead bait in the winter.
Yeah,
well, I use dead bait all year. I
like dead bait all year too.
I have a flopping live bait, and I'll chop that damn thing up every time.
Now I
will use a live bluegill.
Yeah, live bluegill is one of my favorites during the springtime when that hatch is going.
Yeah.
And everything's really out there, which we didn't have a shad kill this past year, so our river's full of shad.
We didn't have much one either. Last 2 years we didn't have too big a one, and the lake's just full of shad. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sitting over here looking at the graph right now, just watching it's either white bass or shad one, but more likely it's both.
Man, bait must be easy. I'm like, this bait is just goes through my net. You don't like when you see just a cloud of bait on your graph. They're like
they're like
big, man. Maybe
1 inch.
about this time of year, they're about that big. So,
well, I got all my bait clickers on. I need to quit looking back there.
that's habit. You're not ever going to be able to break that at this point.
No, and a flathead. Most of my flatheads that I've caught never really pull down like a blue will. They'll sit there and take that rod and sometimes you just got to reel on.
Just certain time
You'll
of year
miss
they
them.
grab that thing when they're roam feeding, like really moving around, right? That's probably pre-spawn or.
I've had maybe, as long as I've been fishing up here on this Cumberland River, maybe 4 flatheads just smoke a rod.
Yeah.
But out of all the other ones, they do that light tap. You'll think it's the channel cat.
They're not even moving. They just suck that thing into their mouth, right? I
mean,
unless you're paying attention, or know what the heck you're looking at.
That's why I really like these new carbines. They're really sensitive.
Yeah. And if you know what the bite looks like, it's easy to determine what you got, what you're messing with.
Yeah.
Jeremy says we got no skips here, and one time I had skipjack, I tore the fish up, and my bait was a few days
Can y'all
old.
see that? You see that big bait wad? Well, I got one over here, and a big fish over here running across the side, but hopefully it ain't gar playing around tonight.
Yeah, fishing around gar is not good on anchor, but when you're dragging for blues, it can be awesome.
I love it. Everybody says get away from them when they're around, but me, I'll stay with them.
I do too. 'Cause those big fish like to hang around them.
Well, if them gar around,
get an easy meal.
Yeah, the gar around, you got to think if that's a lot of bait around. So, flatheads ain't intimidated.
Our long nose and short nose and spotted gar like to eat baby carp. You can get around.
We have a lot of Asian carp in our river. Everybody uses them here, but I don't use Asian carp. I stick with skipjack. I use shad every once in a while, but I hate a cast net, so I make skipjack jigs too. So,
Rich Cigar at Operation Vets with Net says hickory and American shad still work great frozen. We don't have those here, so I don't even know what you're talking about, Rich.
They're basically like a skipjack.
Yeah, I know. American shad's kind of like a gizzard shad when they're giant. It's when I look at them in a picture. I don't know. We don't have them, so.
Y'all just have shad, don't you?
We got just shad. We got gizzard shad and threadfin shad.
Threadfin. Yeah, we have a lot of threadfin here too. But there's so much choice of bait at this river. If I can get a cast net, I'm trying to throw back in a channel and get me some red horse suckers.
Okay. I always got some of my buddies like, oh, red horse suckers are the best. And another one of my buddies says, I like moon eye. Moon eye are his favorite. Do they have those where you're at?
We've caught a few, but they're not in here like they are up there at the Ohio and stuff like that. We're getting them. We can go up to Kentucky, like Barkley and Kentucky Dam, and you'll get them. But they're not on the Cumberland that much. You might catch one or two here or there.
How big a chunk are you throwing tonight?
Oh, man, I'm throwing.
Sid says, nice.
That's my bait for.
There you go. About a hand size.
Yeah.
That's a standard size.
That's what I call about a 14-inch skipjack.
Those are good containers up to however big. Anything.
Yeah, no, I throw the biggest heads I can when I'm flathead fishing.
Yeah. It helps you also eliminate some of the smaller fish that mess with it.
Yeah, I tell myself I'm not out here for dinks. I trophy catfish. I'm not 10, 15 pounder. Yeah, it's nice in a tournament to get one, but when I'm out here just fun fishing, I'm not looking for them. I don't care if I don't catch one all night.
Yeah. Well,
I'd rather have that one solid fish than
you'd
dinks.
be surprised at what a high tainer size fish a high tainer can eat, though. We catch a lot of tainers on our biggest dang baits. They're like, 10. Hell,
Yeah.
you can't see it in this picture, but it's like a 10-inch bait, stinger rigged, and I get we catch tainers on those.
I'm not running no double hook rigs tonight, but I've got two different hooks on. I'm running the hog snatchers and the cat snatchers.
What size
All
hook
10
are
aught.
you running tonight?
I run 10-aughts. I've got 2 8-aught hog snatchers on.
Guys
Just
don't
for
know
the
what
thinner
hog
wire.
snatchers are. Those are Mad Cat's hooks. You can get them over at madcatsgear.com.
Yeah, I was actually the one who named them hooks.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. My brother got to name the cat snatcher ones, and I got the hog snatcher. So we run both of them, but we like them all. I really like the offset on the cat snatchers.
Yeah,
Or
gotta have a
flathead
big
fish.
offset. That's one of my requirements on a hook.
Now the hog snatchers don't have the offset, but they'll puncture anything you put it in.
Yeah, I think with the offset, when you're dragging, I know you're anchored up most of the time, but when you're dragging, I think that offset, it'll get that fish that just kind of grabs it and holds on to it as you're going by.
Yeah.
He's not really turning. If you don't have a real good offset, it's just you'll whisker hook them or you'll barely skin hook those fish. And if it's a good size one, when you get it up next to the boat, you'll lose those most of the time. So
Yep.
The extreme offset helps it get kind of behind that tooth patch on those types of fish. And that type of bite happens often. So certain days, guys like, I didn't catch nothing. And they're like, what'd you get? And I'm like, well, we got like 20 and like 10 good ones. And they're like, what the hell? All we got was chewed on. I'm like, well, they were chewing, but I mean, really that bite is, they're not really chewing. They're just holding it in their mouth.
Yeah.
If you don't have the right hook, you ain't catching them that day. Or if you don't know how to really reel down on them.
Yeah, exactly. So this past weekend we had that benefit tournament, which we was hoping for current, but ended up being no current. It rained like 4 or 5 inches and still didn't have no current. So we went and drug where we thought we was going to catch them, where we went pre-fishing the week before. Well, we drug about 2 hours. Man, we didn't get a bite. I'm like, man, they were here just a week ago. What's going on? So we picked up and we shot up River Bay, I don't know, 10 miles. And we started a little drag, and it wasn't 45 minutes. We had 5 flatheads in the boat dragging.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
That girl.
Say you can't catch them dragging, but you're like, man, we catch them dragging all the time. And I've got another buddy that says we catch them dragging. You just got to go a little slower.
Well, 0.2, 0.3 on your flathead. And also a lot of people don't understand when you're flathead fishing, when you're dragging for flatheads, it's all about the bite. You'll think you're getting hung up. Your weight's getting snagged.
Yeah.
But it's really a flathead just doing his thing, just walking with that bait. And that's a lot of times how I'll just get up and reel down on them.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't hurt just to go crank down a few times. Sometimes, hell, you could be towing a big fish.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, man, that rod looks like it's barely looks like it's dragging a heavier weight. But sometimes they just open their mouth and put the bait in their mouth, and then they just clamp down and you're dragging them at 0.2, 0.3. They don't even realize, I think, that they're hooked sometimes.
No, we've drugged channel cats and smaller blues for miles and never even knew it on them.
Well, that's common. I mean,
And
It
then
seems
there was,
like every time I reel up, I got one or two on that I'm like, damn, look at this guy. I've been dragging this sucker for a mile. He's just
yeah,
worn the F out.
I
But
had
sometimes you
one
got
day.
a giant on.
Yeah, and they're swimming up towards you.
I had one on this winter that I thought I was hung. It was my longest freaking line. It just buried over and just there was never a tail whip. It was just dead weight. And I'm like, damn, I caught it on the live and I was just horsing it in. All I could do was just horse it in, crank down, horse it in. It was like bringing in a pair of hip waders that were full of mud and water. And
Yeah,
and the whole time I'm like, what the hell do I got on? This got to be like a bucket or hip waders or wonder what. I caught somebody's pants, and I got that thing all the way to the boat, and it just went nuts. And it was a 55-pound, just one of those blue cats. It's just solid black, bug-eyed, crazy. But he didn't put up any fight till he got to the boat. Not even a single tail whip.
yeah.
It was the weirdest fish fight I'd ever had. But once he realized he was hooked, boy, it was on. So Big Johnson's catfishing says slime dogs. That's Ronnie Johnson, one of our new teammates at Carolina Lake Weights. We'll
I'm
get
trying
you
to slime it.
soon here, buddy. So Jeff Martin says, what size hooks on the big heads? And you're running 10-aughts on the big bait on your base tonight, right?
Yeah, and I actually got 8-O's on too with the big heads. I just hook them a little bit further up in the nostril where I still got that hook showing. I've never had a problem with the 8-O to a 10-O on big bait.
Now you
But I'm not.
catch them on the 8-0. I think it just the 10's got a more wide gap. If you don't hook an 8 perfectly,
Yeah,
you can lose them right there at the boat because it's not behind the tooth patch or it's not hooked up into that meat real good.
yep.
I think.
See, I had one this past weekend. I reeled him all the way up to the boat. And as soon as he felt like he was on, he spit the bait. He didn't even have the
Oh
hook.
yeah,
He just had the bait.
yeah, that
He had the
happens.
bait back behind the head. He
Jeff
was
Martin
munched
says,
down on him.
yeah, just locked down, but not. I guess locked down enough where you'd never even buried the tip of the hook into it.
Oh, he had the skipjack head, but he had it from the eyeball back. Like you could, when I pulled it up,
Okay.
you could see where he bit. And he
He's just
never made it to the hook. Just sitting there holding it, reeling him to the boat. And then as soon as he felt that pressure getting straight up and down beside the boat, he let go. I told my brother, I said, man, that was a good one too. And it wasn't, I turned around and the other rod's going down. So I was like, okay, here we go.
Jeff Martin says circle or J hook. So he's using the cat snatchers and the hog snatchers, which I'm not sure which is which. One is an
The hog is the hybrid.
offset, and the other is a double action. So which is which? So the guys know.
So the hog snatchers are the hybrids, and the
Yeah.
cat snatchers are the complete circle hook.
Okay. So cat snatcher is a circle hook. It's an octopus circle offset with a bent eye, and then the hog snatcher is it's a hybrid. So, well, you can call it a double action or a triple action. It's
Hold on, I'll show them on. Let me get one out.
and they're both pretty heavy gauge on the wire. I wouldn't say extremely heavy. I wouldn't call it maybe not a 5X, but maybe a 4 or 3X, probably a 4.
Come on, Rod, y'all need to go down. So I don't know if you can see this or not.
We're on YouTube. Yes, sir. So you can switch over to El Gato Azul TV and we can see who you are. If not, there it is.
That is the 10-aught hog snatcher, the hybrid. That's what I'm running tonight. I've got
That's got a bent eye too.
Yes, it's got the octopus eye on it too. And then I also have the cat snatchers on.
That's the style hook I prefer these days.
With that, it's got one hell of an offset. I don't know if you can see it or not, but
yeah, I can see it. It's probably 20-degree offset. Yep, those are good hooks. Anything coming from Mad Cats is top notch, man.
Always.
I got a bunch of stuff delivered. I got these bait shears, which
I need to order some of them.
They're heavy. I mean, that's the first thing you feel. I'm like, damn, those are pretty heavy. Those are quality right there. They're real tight.
I'm still using these. I still got the old kitchen scissors.
Well, those work. Heck, some of those work great depending on the metal that they use.
I've had these on here. They're covered in blood and slime and scale, and they still work good.
I got some of the Bubbas, and they got a hinge that separate, like right there comes unattached so you can clean it. That doesn't work for me because I got big hands, and when I open them, they come apart. I'm like, these freaking things are a pain in the ass, but these are nice. They got all types of little tools on them. They got a little bottle opener. They've got. I don't know what these are. Some type of hook tool. These little kind of look. I guess you're supposed to put your hook in there, and I don't know. It's got these little holes for I don't know what. It's got some crimpers. I guess that'd be probably for crimping, but also for weights. Got a little screwdriver.
Man, I got a wake boat out here at dark.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
If they're out there right now, they've been drinking.
Oh, yeah. There was only like 3 boat ramps. I'm thinking get rocked to hell.
So what are you set up on right now, Brandon?
What kind I'm set up. Hold on a second. I'm getting rocked. Old Deep V, it rocks pretty good, but I'm just glad we finally got this motor running good.
So what kind of structure you set up on tonight?
I'm actually set up on a big tree, big root ball. It's got a bunch of.
I would call that a cover. So.
Yeah, it'll be mainly trees that I set up on. I'm in mud. I'm on the mud bank with nothing but trees.
What's your depth?
I'm sitting in 23 foot, but most of my rods, which if I turn back, I've got most of my rods thrown to the bank.
Okay. So you're fairly shallow.
Yeah, I try to run when it's nighttime. I want to be shallow because I know where the flatheads go. At night, they're coming up on them banks.
How far are you from your baits?
90 foot.
Okay. Facebook users, I like double hook rigs on big baits, 10-0 in the nose and 8-0 in the back of the bait. And I run a lot of those too. On my planer boards in the winter, I run a 12-aught in the nose and a 10-aught behind the dorsal fin.
I usually run double hook rigs, but in the structure that I'm in, I don't want to get hung up as bad. So I'm staying away from the double hook rigs.
Yeah, I like.
Usually when I drag, I use double hook.
I like when I'm dragging. Now, when I'm anchoring, I don't use them. I shorten my stuff up.
All my leaders
when I'm dragging. I like it to look like a whole fish that's swimming or has just died or is in its last throes of life. So, I think that triggers a few extra fish.
Yeah, all my leaders are probably between 12 and 24 inches right now anchored.
Yeah. So
I've got
Ronnie said he caught his PB 72 on an 8-0 in the back. 8-0 in the back of the bait.
See, I don't like running double hook rigs as much anchored because
I think they're just coming to clean up when they're anchored. When you're dragging, it's more they're waiting to ambush. I think that bigger bait, when you're dragging, you're presenting it live, and when you're anchoring, you're a lot of times you're either stick it in their face and letting it sit, or they're coming to it. You're flathead fishing, but they're coming to your bait to eat that damn thing. So.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they get impatient flathead fishing. Me, I'll sit here all night in this one hole. Because I know what'll happen. I've sat in spots 2 to 3 hours before. But now you get my brother out here, and he's impatient. It's 45 minutes. It's time to go. It's time to pick up and move. And me, I like to sit around and wait them out a little bit and see if they're moving around or what. If they're not moving around, then I'll pick up, head on out. But
Ronnie
usually when the current
72 on an 8-0, and I'll tell you, Ronnie, I caught my biggest fish of the year on an 8-0. But I also, when you run that 8-0, you run the risk of not getting it behind the tooth patch if you hook it on the top or the bottom. Now, if you get it in the corner of the mouth, you can catch the world record on a 6-0 hook. But if it gets in the top or the bottom and you can't get it around the tooth patch, you'll lose those fish damn near every time. So, and 8-0 will get around a pretty damn big fish's tooth patch. But once they get really large, you have to hook them perfectly to get them in. Guys are like, there's 100-pounders caught on crappie hooks. I'm like, yeah, but that's a fluke.
Yeah, that's one of them praise to God that it came in.
Yeah.
Especially like some of these guys that bass fish down in Gunnersville, man. Gunnersville is one of the biggest lakes for flatheads.
Yeah.
And these guys down here bass fishing, catching them on spoons and stuff like that on 10, 15-pound line. And you talking about a fight, it takes 45 minutes to an hour just to get one in. And they ain't never felt nothing like that before. And then all of a sudden you got a 60-pounder on the line. That's crazy.
My buddy Catfish Tim, he comes down there and fishes Gunnerville with a guide. What's the guide's name? Oh, Josh.
Josh Brown?
Yeah. And they caught like a 78-pound flathead. I'm just like, and my buddy's 6'6". He's a giant. I'm like, damn, it's a big fish when it looks big up against your big ass.
Especially Josh Brown's another one. He's like 7 foot tall.
I know.
Everything he catches.
That guy hammers them. I mean, every time he goes, I'm like, he's like, yeah, we got an 80, a 78, and a couple 660s. I'm like, damn, I need to go fish in Alabama.
Well, I'll be there. What is it? Not this weekend, but the next weekend. Me and my partner I fished with this year, we're going to go down and fish Patriot catfishing and take a few veterans out on Wheeler Lake.
Oh, nice.
So hopefully
that'll be fun. Hopefully y'all get into them.
Yeah, I hope so too, because man, I ain't been on Wheeler. It's been a while since I've been on Wheeler. And the guy I'm going with, he don't like dragging. He's a big time anchor guy like me. We struggle dragging. And don't get me wrong, dragging something that I don't do a lot of. I'm on the rope most of the time.
Dragging's easy to do and difficult to master. I tell guys, anybody can do it, but to be really good at it, there's a lot that goes into just, it's not just, I'm going to line up down here and I'm going to head that way.
Yeah, I've been really putting in the time this year, looking at it, like getting on the maps and looking at my ledges and looking at my cutbacks and little eddies and stuff like that. But that's how we end up.
You hit those little sweet spots. That's pretty much the trick. You hit them with It's just like anchor fishing where you like the way you're doing it, you're trying to put that bait right there where they're going to want it. That's the same thing.
Yeah, I try to run that ledge as much as possible. Like this weekend, I think we was in like 22 foot, and we was dragging, which the outside board was probably in 28 to 30 foot, but the inside boards was ranging 10 foot, 12 foot, and that's just where it was. Tell him to get to work.
Your brother, he was cursing you when you said you were going to fish.
Yeah, he was kind of mad. I think he might be taking a trip to Wheeler. Yeah, he's definitely mad. He couldn't come out tonight. He had to work.
Doty says, let's see a takedown. Good luck.
Man, I'm trying. Stay out there.
Jeff says he uses surgical shears, and that's what I've used as well. Those work as good as any.
Yeah, I just try to keep the fins off as much as I can on skipjack, especially.
I try to get the fin off because if it helicopters, it seems to always spin back onto that damn fin.
Yeah. Now, on the heads, I don't worry about it too much unless the skipjack was in the cooler and the fins were stuck out while they were in the cooler. I'll cut them off, but they're laid down in the cooler.
Scale all my baits, and guys like, oh, you don't need to scale them, and other guys like, oh, you scale them to release the oil, and I'm like, hell, I scale them so they don't foul hook on a scale because a lot of times you're bringing in a big fish, and then all of a sudden it comes off, and you bring it in, and it's got a scale right on the hook point. It's like, it never went in because that damn scale.
Yeah, that's one thing I make sure when I hook my bait, I'm pulling the scales off the hook. I've had too many fish take it, and then all of a sudden I pull the bait up and it's got scales on it, and it's like, yeah, well, I know what happened there.
And that was kind of the same way with when I used to leave the fins on. It would spin around and it would be hung onto the fin. I'm like, can't get the hook point in his mouth if it's hung up on that dorsal fin.
Yeah, exactly.
I trim them off now. So
yeah, I try to trim anything. If I got a pair of scissors around, I'll cut them off, but if not, I'll throw them out there with them. But mainly the time, you won't see me. I don't throw very many chunks, and I probably should try to, but if I've got heads in the cooler, that's the first thing that goes. And then once I run out of them or they stop bleeding, I'll go to the chunks, but I don't like to.
Yeah. Terry Woodrow says, what's up, guys? Just got home from bait fishing. So
that's another good man on Flathead.
Terry's one of those guys that's got to go fishing before he goes fishing.
That's right. That's how I have to do.
My wife hates that. She's like, you went fishing before you went fishing.
Got to go catch bait.
I know it. I know it. And sometimes bait ain't easy to get, but I always get it no matter what. I'm getting what I need. So
now I'll say this: skipjack is in them months. Let's say about June to about now. Well, probably in the beginning of September. Skipjack's really hard to catch.
Sometimes when they're hard to catch, they quit using them. They switch to something else.
We'll go to white bass.
Yeah, that's what a lot of guys say. They go to white bass.
We'll go to white bass if we can find them, but if not, then I'm calling a buddy and saying, "Hey, can you bring your cast net down here? I need some shad. I gotta go fishing."
Your brother said, "Man, go hit that flathead hole."
Yeah, I'm in it.
He's in it. He's off in it. So Paula says, hey, everyone. Welcome in, Paula. Brian says it's overfished. LOL.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely overfished.
Jeff says you drop baits in the wood or just in front of it?
I try to drop it around it and in it. as much as possible. I really like putting it in front of it and bringing them out, because at nighttime I think they travel more up out of it. That's when they're moving out of the structure.
That's what Epic Catfish said too, and I consider him about as good as anyone at catching giant flatheads. Paula says, "Why are you 90 feet away from your bait?"
90 feet. That's what I've always said at. That's my good casting distance for me.
It also keeps some of the from spooking them if you bang something. It helps.
Which I don't. Hey, I'm gonna tell you this: banging on stuff, flatheads ain't. They're territorial and predator fish. They're not worried about banging. Now, blue, I'd say so, but
yeah, we had another guy on that has a clonk, and he says I clonk on this boat like crazy.
Like, yeah, that's my buddy, Mr. Catman Jones.
Yeah, yep. So, but I will tell you, fishing shallow for blues, if you got somebody banging around on the boat, you won't catch a damn thing.
Exactly.
They spook away from that boat, and if you like my son, we can't anchor for big fish up shallow. Now we'll get one occasionally if we're fishing in the spring, but it's pointless to even fish with him. He just bangs around too much. Now I think when you're in 15, 20 foot or more, they will spook away from the boat, but not like when you're shallow. They get the heck out of there if you're close to them and you're banging around.
Oh, yeah. The flatheads, I really don't pay no attention to the banging around because, like you said and Matt said, that thump kind of brings them to it. They're kind of looking to see.
Yeah, like what the heck?
They're wanting to see what's making that noise. So they get to.
Clayton says that's an awesome setup. I agree.
Appreciate it.
Sweet setup. So y'all this is the new boat. So the other boat finally give out on you, and this is what do you call this one?
This is the Catnapper 2.0.
The Catnapper 2.0.
Yeah, the first one we had, it was a great boat, man. It was small. Me and my brother are bigger guys, so it was a little 18-foot. It's same brand. It's a Fisher Deep V. This one's a 20-foot. The last one we had was an 18-foot, but it wasn't as wide as this one. Like when I'm standing in this boat.
Paula says, Brandon, are you close to the dam or Liberty Park?
I'm more close to Liberty Park. I was at the dam last night. Oh. Yeah, no, I'm up here. I've got this one little hole I like. I've caught my PB came out of this hole where I'm at. I've caught the 55 that you were showing on the going live. That's a 55-pound flathead I caught right here at this hole.
Okay, that'd be
yeah.
Damn! Look at the head on that thing.
Yeah, no, that was a fucking pig.
And oh man, you can see the tooth patch just through the top lip. You don't even have to look in his mouth to see it. It's damn near 2 inches wide. That thing's freaking huge.
Yeah, we got some tanks and flatheads in this river. It's just been so weird because we ain't had no rain really. So the current ain't been like it usually is in October. This is when I really turn on flathead fishing. October is the month that I usually take off a week of work, call it fish catching.
See,
but I can't really do that.
This is our transition. So October can really suck unless we get some hard, cold rain type events. Then it's awesome. But
like our water temp right now where I'm sitting at is 75.5 degrees, which is, I want it to be right around 72, 73. I'll take the 75, but I really want that 72, 73 range.
Yeah, that turns, I mean, for the river, that's a little different. For the lake, our lakes kind of turn over in the mid to low 70s, and it could be in the high 60s, but usually it's right around in that, and the fish get sick from that lake turning over. They just, I don't know why they don't like that, but generally sucks if our lake turns over. Now, past few years it's just mixed, so that's not great fishing either. When the water's all the same temperature, they go.
They go anywhere.
Yeah, they go anywhere. In a lake, it's like where, it's a big lake. They don't sweep up. So I like cold rain coming into the lake. To me, I find that line where they want to be, and then it's go time because half the fish in the lake are lined up on that line they want to be at.
Yeah.
I am going fishing this weekend, Clayton. I'm going to be fishing Saturday. We got a front hitting, but I'm not too worried about it being a day of the front. This time of year, that can be the day of the front can be a good thing. So it's going to be cooler, cloudy, windy. Should be all right. Now that I say that, I'll probably take a beating, but.
Yeah, I always, man, Cumberland River is one of them rivers, like, you can send the best angler to this river.
Jamie Dunn's in the house.
What I say, buddy?
What's going on?
How's everybody doing, bro? Sorry I'm late to the party. We just
trying to find the right layout.
That's
that's the 3-man.
Yeah.
Just got Rebecca home, got her in bed, so we just try to jump on here for a couple minutes, man.
Nice. Well, why don't you tell us about what you've been doing the last 6 hours?
Pretty much sitting in a waiting room at a hospital. So we got there at 12:30. She was actually supposed to go in surgery by 3, and they got her in, I believe, Chris, what time I text you? They were running behind.
I couldn't keep up with time tonight.
Yeah. So it's been a long day at the hospital, but we finally got everything done and just got her home.
That's great that you got to go home. I mean, she gets to sleep in her own bed. I'm sure they gave her something good to help her sleep, so at least she'll sleep through the night.
Oh, yeah. They wouldn't let her leave until she done a few things, and now got her home and had to jump on for a little bit. And, everybody appreciate all the prayers, and I know she does too, man.
So let's run through the comments real quick, and then we'll do a little. We'll go through all the stuff that we got coming out. Brandon's on the water. He's set up in.
There's the bait I run.
He's running hand-sized skipjack chunks on 10-aught hooks.
That's a nice piece of bait right there, brother.
He says he's on a big fish if we can just get it to bite. So, Facebook user says, old sand barge produces some good flats this time of year in Riverside Avenue. So, Fisherman Sid says, exactly, you spook them and it's game over. You can't sneak up on anything when you're fishing with a tornado. Jeff Martin says, Brandon, are you fishing braid in heavy cover?
I run mono.
Are you what mono are you using?
I've got the Structure Cat 40 pound on.
Structure
from
Cat
Cat
40 pound. All right. What color?
I run. We got the leader line I run is made by Reaper Acco Fishing. It's 100 pound, and I run crimps. Man, I get so tired of trying to break that stuff.
Yeah.
I can't break it.
Yeah. Yeah, that 40 is hard to break. I drag a lot, which, man, that my buddy's like, I got all the, let me bring rods and put them on my half of the boat. And then, he's like running his rigs against mine, and he's all hung up, and the boats can't. I'm like, damn, we got 3 of your 40 pound Structure Cat mono rods hung at the same time. We are like,
I think I got a barge coming up river, so I'm trying to refresh bait for him coming up.
Yeah, that's what I'm running, is that 40-pound.
Paula says no current on the Tennessee River. He says he's got 1 mile an hour current because they're generating at the dam. I run Shimano Takota 600 HGA reels, and I won't buy another one for catfishing at this point because I've been using them for 8 years. I haven't never even cleaned one. We fish them hard every week. I've not had one go in the shop. So I'm coming from, I got 2 dozen Abu 6500s, and those things were broken down constantly. Yeah. I would go through probably a dozen in a year. I would wait. I have got 30 or something of them, and I would, as they break with the pawl gear, the worm gear, the drag, I would melt the drag washers because you're pulling planer boards and it's sliding against your drag. It just not really made for the way I fish. I didn't have a problem when I anchored. They're great. They work good for anchoring. When I started dragging, I was just destroying them. Now, they're repairable, but repairs are expensive these days. And
yeah, I used to work on a lot of those, Chris, when I was doing reel repairs and stuff. I used to work on a lot of those.
Yeah, so you'd have to replace the bearings. Eventually. Now they last a while, and everything on them is pretty much replaceable besides the reel foot. It's tack welded.
Yeah,
and I was bending my tack weld, or actually broke a couple tack welds for pulling planer boards. That thing just stresses. It just over time, I guess it just broke them. And if you got guys in the boat, that kids and stuff step on stuff.
Oh yeah,
laying in the bottom when you got a fish, a couple fish in the boat, you got a couple of rods that are laying. People stepping on them, they break. So
that's for sure. How's the fishing going, brother?
It's going. It ain't no biting yet, and they've done shut the current off on me.
That ain't good.
I still got one generator, so they're still about 7,000. I'm probably about 0.4, 0.5 on the current.
Okay, well, you still got hope. Brother says, pick up and move to that big tree we usually fish. Come on and show these people a big fish.
I was about to say, it looks like he's trying to help him out where to go to now.
I'm trying. I got this skipjack fresh says it's gonna bite.
Certified Fishing Net says chaos, and I'll tell you, chaos probably wouldn't last a month on my boat. I'm not to dog them, but I'm just being real. Chaos wouldn't last a month on my boat.
I won't run nothing but the pins anymore.
Especially with the season coming up, I would have those things just stripped out. Fish on Marine Electronics. Oh man, I don't have my hat.
How's it going, guys?
We need to get Jamie set up with Fish On here in Louisville. You guys, anybody local in here? Fish On's got Mad Cats. They got catfishing gear. They got Marine Electronics. My boy Voskin, he's certified technician for Minn Kota motor, or not motor. He may be Motor Guide, but Minn Kota and Humminbird. Awesome installer, does everything right. Takes great care of me. Good price. Y'all go check him out. Certified Fishing Nut says, looks like perfect weather Saturday night. Well, it'll be the perfect weather is if I'm catching them. That's perfect weather for me. It'll be nicer to have cooler weather. So,
yeah, I believe I'll head down to maybe Santee Cooper on Sunday.
Brian says mono all day. I'm the same way. I grew up on mono. I tried braid. I'm like, I use braid when I'm shark fishing, but that's about it.
Only time I use braid is when I'm bait fishing. I like my bait rods to have braid.
Yeah, I like my mono too, my friend.
I'll use some braid if I'm fishing shallow in the spring, up around timber and stuff like that. I got bait. I take my old Mad Cats and I put braid on them, and then they just sit over there until I need them. If I know I'm going to go anchor shallow, I'll break those out. I don't use them enough to even have to replace that braid, so I'm dragging most of the time. Even when guys are telling me they're anchoring, I'm like, I'm going to drag where you're anchoring.
There you go.
Evan Warden, welcome, buddy. Welcome. Roger, Muskrat Adventures, welcome in, buddy. Piss of Fun reels are affordable and good chaos, but there are better ones. There's always a good, better, best. I think for guys that are just fishing, maybe not as hardcore as Jamie, or not as hardcore as Brandon or myself, breaking them. You break them when you fish hard.
I'll say this: if somebody really wants a good reel that's on a low budget, the Laser XL 60s are probably one of your best reels out that are worth the price.
Yeah.
I've actually got a couple of those that my boys use, I've used, and they're actually pretty decent reels.
Yeah.
Boys, I got one right here that says that one's fixing to go.
Hello. Goodbye.
That's it.
Now, a lot of guys, if you're not fishing for big fish every weekend and pulling giant pointer
Just so y'all get a reference, my hand.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's a pretty piece of bait right there, brother.
And I got this barge coming through.
Normally, you get a lot of bites when those come through like that.
Yeah, they get that water stirred up.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll even get them like when a big house, like a cruiser boat, will come through. We'll get them like that in the lake. I'm like, oh, here comes a big cruiser. Guys are like, F this guy. I'm like, well, he may catch us a fish.
Brandon, when your current normally stops, do you sometimes go and try to go to a deeper hole to maybe where they're gathering, or you kind of just fish normal spots?
I usually fish real shallow when I'm flathead fishing.
Okay.
That's my main thing.
I know normally during
them right there are the truth.
I know normally during the day I'll normally get to a deeper hole.
You got those rattles, Brandon?
I do. They're all every running.
Last week, all of our fish come off of those rattles.
You got any of these?
Yeah, I've got them on too.
These are the Shockwave. I got to retie. These are the Carolina Twisters. And that bright light's got it. There they are. That's a big upgrade from this thing that y'all started with, Jamie.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no, I really like them. I like taking them ones that are smaller and flipping them back to back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you're doing
that's what the Chris, that first one you held up.
Yeah, that's what this one is. It's basically a back to back.
Yeah, that's what that's what made me think about it. I was like, hey, let me turn them things back to back and see if they match up.
Yeah,
Hey.
those put out a ton of noise. And then there's these, which I hadn't run these. I haven't had this first time I've got these. These are the
Yep, the Stunners.
Carolina Stunners. So, guys, we're constantly trying to improve. Jamie, he gives a lot of this stuff for me to get to test, and he's what I love about Carolina Lake Weights is they're always trying to improve. They're not just like, oh, these are great, and that's all we're going to do. Because I'll be honest, when they came out with this thing.
Yeah, no, I'm a big time on the rattle.
I'm like, we got to improve that. And it wasn't a week or two later, Jamie come out with this thing. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but
yeah, that's the ones I like to turn around.
Animal than this thing. So I love that y'all are always trying to make things better, Jamie. Hey, buddy.
Yeah. We're not going to sit still. We're going to continue. That's for sure.
Got the tornado in the house. Yeah.
I've got a 2-week tornado at the house that's keeping me up all night. So
congratulations on that again, buddy.
Like that.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I've got one that I've got a 10-year-old and a 2-week-year-old. So
no,
it's definitely crazy.
I'll tell you what. Now you they're gonna be your fishing partners in the future, brother.
No, get it.
I've been trying to get my 10-year-old to go, but he's one of them ones. He's into science and math and stuff like that big time. He don't want to fish.
Yeah, mine back in school was into that robots and stuff. You know, where they go and compete and stuff, and then once they got on up into high school a little bit more, then it was girls, and then. Now it's jobs and fishing again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I ain't got there. But, man, I got a ton of bait coming through. I hope like they start moving. I ain't bringing no planer boards with me today, so I ain't dragging tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, looks like, man, your setup you've got. I was just looking at your lights, and with, off them rods, it looks amazing, brother.
Appreciate it. I've got some other lights I ain't even got on here yet. Them are just on my multi-bar rack, and they're just a blue LED strip. But I've got some that go on my bimini top, and when I tell you they're bright, you can see everything, the bank and everything off the blue lights.
Yeah. I bought me some more. I know I've just got my boat redone with all the lights, but when I put my top up, I bought some more. That I could pretty much just set up there and shine back on the rods, and I love it.
Yeah, no, I like my lights to be up high, especially driving at nighttime.
Oh yeah,
I want them to be at least 3 or 4 foot up higher than what I am. That way I can see, and it doesn't give you that boat blindness.
Come on. I'm gonna get rid of this tornado.
The tornado.
Man, it looks like y'all had you just had a little tournament fundraiser. Tell us a little bit about that, brother.
So yeah, we have a buddy here that lives here in Clarksville with us. His son's 9 months old. His name's Alex Bully, and then his son was Rory. He's having a lot of problems with his heart. I think now that they're actually going to have to do an open heart surgery now. Really good people, man, and we wanted to do something for him, get some money for him where they are not struggling as bad. We was able to raise, I think it was $2,700 and something bucks for him, and that's probably be one of the most memorable days for us, as being in tournaments wise, to see a kid at 9 months old to have heart trouble like that, and to think that I just had I've got a 2-week-year-old at the house, to know what a father would have to do to go through that.
Yep.
It's really hard on somebody like that.
It's really amazing, man. I know it touched our hearts and stuff, and we done a lot of praying, and that's for sure. And we were looking at the pictures and stuff, and looks like y'all really had a good time, and that's amazing.
It wasn't even about the winning or anything for us. It was just to be able to get out and give back to the community like that. We try to do as much as we can for our community. We do a lot for Toys for Tots. We usually run a benefit tournament for Toys for Tots every year.
Yeah.
We ran tournaments for food drives. We've done, like, to say, we didn't have what everybody else had when we was growing up like we do now. So for us to be able to give back to the community is one of our biggest things, is to give back. We love giving back.
That's amazing, man. It's just such a lot of people out there, man, good hearts and stuff that a lot of people overlooks anymore in this day and time. But it's people like y'all, and
I think it's cool what you did, for sure.
Yeah.
Without guys like you, there wouldn't be anybody how for instance, I gave a little, and how would I have even known to give a little bit if it weren't for you setting all that up, Brandon? So that's awesome that you did that, man. And guys, a lot of guys are willing to give. They just
we
related.
Yeah, and the catfish community, man, they'll come together. Just the sponsors alone that gave products to be able to raffle off and to raise money for him was truly amazing. And for Matt Knight, for what he done, he ended up donating $1,000 cash to him also, which was unreal. And Matt Knight's one of the best guys I've ever been around in the catfish industry for his kindness.
A really good supporter. If it's anything that has to do with kids or veterans, you ask, and he's like, of course, 1,000%.
He's definitely been one of the main guys to help us out when it comes to events like that. He's gave more than most people would ever think about for raffles and benefit, and supported every one of them we've ever done.
He's given to all my fishing and kids fishing stuff. When my friends have a kids fishing event, they're like, anybody that might donate? I'm like, I know some. I know a few. I know Carolina Lakeweights will probably give some. And then I know Mad Cats will probably give some. Let me ask. And I think that's one of the coolest things is being in this, is getting, being able to help.
Back.
Yeah, giving back, being able to help.
Especially when you can, being able to give back.
That helped with the Rory benefit. Didn't even know the kid.
Yeah. So there was a lot of people that did their own little give back. Like on TikTok, we had Shannon Oxner. I think he ended up raising like $500 or $600 doing live TikToks. And he's not even from here. He's from Kentucky, but he's like a brother to us. Great guy. There's a bunch of people that I heard that did stuff like me. I'm not a big social media guy. My brother is. I work so much. My time, I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I don't go to sleep right now until 10 or 11 o'clock, and then back up again.
Find time to fish every week.
Yeah.
Unless you're both, but even then, you're still able to get out on the water a little bit.
Yeah, I've got a lot of buddies here in town with us too that do a lot of catfishing. So if my boat's down, I got a boat I can get on. That's one thing, especially like the guy. And I've actually got something going on here. Hopefully, y'all see that? Look at all that bait.
Wow.
Can y'all see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That just now started coming through. But you see this right here?
Heck yeah, man.
This is what I call a big old blue.
I was just looking at that spot.
I hope
Facebook users
he's moving through.
To all, but just dig down, dig deep.
Yeah, I've got one out there for him.
After a few weeks,
Yeah, now the fishing's been tough on me here lately. It seems like anytime I go to a tournament, I've been pushed down. I can't get a bite. Like Sunday, we had a double hitter this weekend. We did the benefit tournament, and then we've had our local trail Sunday. Man, we was fishing the Tennessee River Sunday, and it was just dead. I called it the Dead Sea that day. We had one bite all day long, caught one fish. It was like 17 pounds. Everybody struggled. The guys that did catch fish were suspending. We dragged all day. They were suspending over bait or structure, just spot lock suspending.
Brandon
I don't like that.
Says, got a Venmo or PayPal for people to donate for that kiddo.
Yeah, you'll have to get with Brian on that.
I donated straight to Brian.
Yeah.
Now,
and what Brian does,
guys, they're good guys, honest guys. So I felt comfortable doing that.
Yeah, all the money from.
I'll vouch for the lads. They're both legitimate, good guys. So, whatever you donate, and it goes through Brian. He's going to make sure that it goes straight to Rory. So.
Yeah, so I think he's going again pretty soon.
Brian says, "Wait till this weekend. I'll show y'all we can actually catch fish."
Yeah, it kind of like I'm kind of hoping it was tomorrow because they're running current tomorrow. I told my buddy at work, I was like, yeah, they're pushing 2 generators from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. I said, and then tomorrow they're running generators from 11 a.m. till 9 p.m., which would have been great for the day, but they're dropping the water on me right now. So I don't like it when they start dropping water and it's already below winter pool.
Yeah.
But as long as I keep some fresh heads out, I've got 25 of them in that cooler. I will swap until I find something. I will sit here until I find something.
So Carolina Lightweights, Jamie, you got some new stuff coming out. You want to talk about that a little bit? I actually got some photos of them.
Yep.
Well, I got some photos of several of them. What happened to the other ones?
You got the last 3 there?
I don't know what happened to them. I guess I don't have them. I got Lily's. Lily's 6-aught, the point accuracy. So let me see if I can get these other ones back up.
That looks like a pretty good size 6-aught hook.
That is. It's a nice hook, man. We love them. I was trying to find them there for you.
Do you have any of those hooks laying around?
I was unprepared tonight. I tell you what, I'm gonna pull up the picture right here of the. You might be able to see it off the phone here, Chris.
Okay, I'm gonna screw up our sound. Give me a second. I'm gonna let me see if I can get these downloaded real quick.
All right. Yeah, we wanted to start doing something for our youth group and our children and these kids, man, they fish hard, and this is our way of celebrating them and trying to give back, and that's what we're all about here at Carolina Lake Weights, and it's just something that we love doing for our youth.
Yeah, I like how y'all do the kids of the week. That really, like that kid that gets picked out of that, that just turns them happy as they could be.
I love it, man. I love it. We get a lot of the dads are like, "Oh, thank you so much," and I think it's cool.
Yeah, no, I think
kids get a little.
I think Brian done entered it this week. We took his stepdaughter with us this past weekend. She had a ball, so she catching all them big flatheads.
A bunch of kids that enter it, and then some. I mean, we've had a couple of weeks that no kids entered it. I'm like, I mean, my son's in there every week, but I'm not going to just give it to him all the time. So,
I wish I could get my oldest one, to fish, but I'm not going to force it on him. He'll come when it's time.
There's the JT's 9.0 Catfish Kid hook for our junior angler pro staff for JT Catfish Kid. That's a good looking hook.
It looks like it needs to be on one of my rods.
Yeah, 9.0 is a good size.
Yeah, I like it. It's probably a little bit thinner wire.
I love a thinner wire, especially for dragging.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I threw an 8/0 hook out because me and my brother was fishing probably about a 400 or 500 yards in front of me in a bend of the river. It wasn't probably 2 or 3 months ago. I probably hooked the biggest fish I've ever had on the line, and I could tell it was a flathead. It was digging so hard. I couldn't, with the brakes on the Penn Squall 2, you know how much drag's on them. I had it cranked completely down, and it was just pulling. I tried to get him to turn. I couldn't get him to turn. Well, he finally turned, and my brother goes, I'm going to get in on live. Well, as soon as he hit the live button, it let go. I don't know if I pulled it from his mouth or what, but the hook, when I came back in, it was kind of bent. So I was like, yeah, no more 8/0s for me.
There's Hunter Wyatt's 8/0 Catfish Prowler, the Carolina Lake Weight Hunters 8/0 Catfish Prowler. You can get all these at CarolinaLakeWeights.com. So,
yeah.
The other one is Jackson's hook. We didn't.
Yeah, I like that 10/0.
There's the 10. I got some of those laying right. Yeah.
Now, do them come with the tornado?
And I tell you, I love the offsets on all of them hooks. I really do.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing on a hook is the offset.
Yeah.
I'd say this is a true 10, whereas a lot of guys call that probably 11 or a 12, but that's a 10. Look at the offset on that sucker.
I had to break myself from, good God, yeah.
I think it's probably 25, maybe even 30%. Most offsets are about maybe 15 to 20, but Jamie was able to find, because I'm like, he's like, how offset? I'm like, more than any other hook.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm like, and he's like, I found one. So,
yeah,
it's a great hook. It's gonna do real well for dragging. It's a medium gauge wire. Not a real super. I wouldn't call it a heavy wire. It's not a thin wire. It's probably more medium. So
it looks like a decent thumb gap in there too.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to get an 80-pound fish. The gap, I got big thumbs, so my thumb goes through there no problem.
Yeah, that's what I like. If my thumb hits, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 1/4 inch between, and I'm 6'2". I got a 1/4 inch in there.
Heck yeah.
But I tell you, man, that's something that we wanted to do, and I tell you, these guys, like I say, our youth group, man, that we take great pride in it here at Carolina Lake Weights, and just giving back and having their name on their hooks is just something I know they're very proud of.
I told JT's dad, Tommy Ruffin, tonight. He's like, man, JT's gonna go crazy go nuts when he sees this, and I said, well, hopefully 20 years from now he can look back at this day and be like, and have that pack of hooks. Like, look at this. As a kid, I think that's the coolest thing of all, really. So I'm gonna put some of these in a scrapbook.
Yeah,
Put
that in a frame.
Yeah,
that's
what
it.
I'm like, frame that.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Jamie. Pretty awesome that y'all are doing that for the kiddos.
Well, we love it, man, and like I said, that's what we're all about, man. Is giving back, and any way we can do that, that's just makes us, feel good, and it warms our hearts. That's for sure.
So,
yeah.
Facebook user says, "Will it rip the lip?" And I'll tell you, it ripped my finger the other day when I was making a video on how I rig these things. Like,
I seen that video.
I look at my finger in the camera. I'm like, damn, gushing blood. I didn't even know I did it, but
I seen that the other day. I was watching that, and I said, them are sharp.
Yeah, and that was just me tying the knot. Like, just, how many times have you tied a snell knot? Gazillion,
Yeah.
I got myself somehow.
Some people think I'm crazy, but I keep a Flintstone in here for sharpening knives. I keep it in the tackle box.
I'll do that too, in case because a lot of these hooks, they have that real like a needle
fine tip. Yep.
Yeah. So sometimes that thing gets bent, and my buddy's like, "Cut that thing off." I'm like, "Hell, I'll file that tip of that thing back down to a razor's edge."
Yeah, no. Hooks are one of them things I'll try to keep as sharp and as long as I can. But like the other day, I was out. A buddy asked me, he said, "You got any hooks you want to get rid of?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I've got ones that I used one time fishing. I got a whole Crown Royal bag at the house that was full of them." And I brought him to him at the Roy Strong benefit tournament. And he was like, "Man, I didn't think you meant that many hooks." I was like, "Well, I change hooks. If I'm fishing a tournament, it doesn't matter what it is. All my leaders get changed. All my hooks get changed."
That's it.
So I'll tell you why we use that. I wouldn't call it a thin wire. I'm going to call this a medium wire. And I've been running these now a long time. Jamie is just now putting them out, but I've been running them for a long time. A thinner wire. Why you want a thinner wire? So when you're dragging a big bait, if you're using a thick gauge, heavy wired hook, go put that thing in your bathtub. That bait gets drugged down like this. So now you're dragging with a bait that's like this. Have you ever seen a fish swimming in the lake that looks like that? They don't. The way that fish swim. Now, it'll still catch fish, but presentation is probably one of the most overlooked things by middle of the road type anglers. The higher level guys probably understand presentation is freaking key. When you got to before these, I would use like a live bait hook, which is a thin wire hook, because you're dragging your bait. That thing rides like this, especially when you're putting a big hook in the tail. if you're using a thick gauge wire, that thing's just dragging down. You just catch more fish like this. So I've never bent one either, and we catch sometimes 1,000 pounds of trophy fish in one trip. So
yeah, we didn't just put them out, to get some hooks out there. We've done quite a bit of testing with these, that's for sure.
There's a lot of great hooks. I'll tell you,
Yeah.
there is no, oh, these hooks are the greatest thing on the planet and they outfish everything. There's 3 things that I look for in a hook. And I could probably go find 20 hooks that could probably get the job done. I want a wide gap. I want a good hook point that kicks up towards the beak. I want an extreme aggressive offset. When I have those 3 things, I know I can look at the hook. I don't have to fish with it to know it's going to be a good hook. So
that's it.
Those are the things that I like. Now, everybody's different. You can have just a double action non-offset hook that catches fish.
Yeah. It all, I mean, there, like you said, Chris, there's a lot of great hooks out there. I don't knock none of them, man, but it's all in preference, what you want to use and what you feel comfortable.
It's all about comfortability.
Yeah,
it's what you're confident in, and your style of fishing as well. The way I fish, I drag. Some days I'm fishing a fish that don't even turn when you catch them.
Mm-hmm.
They just clamp down on that thing. Well, if you don't have an offset hook, me and Brandon talked about this earlier. If you don't have an offset hook on a bite day like that, you will catch 0 fish. You will not catch a single one because the hook points like this, they clamp down, and it just pulls right out of their mouth. If you got an offset, when you do crank down, you can get them in the top lip or the bottom lip, and you'll catch them that way. Now, anchoring, I don't know, an offset, they're coming by and they're feeding, so it's probably a little different when you're anchoring. So,
well, Chris, I tell you, I do a lot of anchoring, and I use these exact same hooks as I anchor, and I'm having a lot of success using them. I'm keeping pretty much the same rig, with those rattles and that hook as I am when I'm dragging, and it's neck to neck, man. It really is, because that aggressive offset, and that goes from our 10s all the way down to that 6. We love them offsets.
I agree. And for whatever reason, they make the bigger ones with a more extreme offset than the smaller ones. So Facebook user says, I'll spend time in the vice grip making his own offset. And I've done that for years before they even they used to not have offset hooks. Yeah. You would have to offset all of them. And that was just something we'd learned through bass fishing. I'm like, how come these damn bass fishermen will offset a hook? Why won't they do it for cat fishermen? So, now there's a gazillion different hooks for cat fishing, and you can decide what you like, what works for you. I know what works for me. The wide gap, extreme offset, with a medium wire. So
that's it. Well, brother, I'll tell you what, man.
Got a bunch of.
I got to jump off and go help Rebecca.
Yeah, Jamie, appreciate you coming in.
I wanted to stop in and say thank you to everybody. Appreciate all the prayers, man. Appreciate everybody, with Carolina Lake Weights. We love you guys, and we definitely hear what you need. We definitely hear you, and there's a lot of good things happening. All of our pro staffs, all of our sponsored anglers. Love you guys, and to all of our customers, appreciate it. Rebecca, she really appreciates all the texts and the prayers, and we really do. So, but buddy, I appreciate y'all. Brandon, good luck,
yes,
buddy.
Sir.
Thank you, and good to have you on the team with us, brother.
Go get you some rest, man.
Yes, sir, buddy. See y'all.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later. Micah said he just got some awesome hooks from Ironside. So we had John Ferguson on week, and he does have some nice hooks. He's got these double action 10-aught. He calls his trophy hooks.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah, I've been looking at them.
really
The
awesome.
only thing I don't necessarily like about them, and it's not the hook, it's the eye not being offset.
Yeah. So here's my take on it. Like when I'm dragging, my front hook needs to be offset because it's on my stinger hook rigs. If not, then it messes up the whole bait. That thing's cockeyed when it's coming through the water.
Yep.
You know, when you got a bent eye like that.
Uh-huh.
Now
you got that line straight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, when I anchor fished, I used what he calls the bloodline. Hell, I used these This was before John gets them from Japan, which, you know, Japan does make a superior steel than China.
Oh yeah, definitely.
This is a double action. I would say this is the same hook as the Team Catfish, but just with higher quality materials. I caught a gazillion catfish off this hook, you know, years ago. And I would say this was the standard hook for everyone until, you know, a lot of guys started going with octopus circles or with the, you know, it's triple action. This is more of a triple action with his trophy hook is. This is more of a double action with, which is what his Blood Eagle are. So, but he does have all three. These are.
I didn't see them yet.
These are his Talon 8.0s. I told him, you got to get these in all sizes because that right there, that thing's freaking awesome.
I like the point on that not being a 90.
The point is not bent. It's, I mean, not like a sharp 90-degree bend or, you know, even if
it's got the curve.
45, it's curved. That curved beak is going to be a stronger beak.
Yeah, for sure.
When you bend,
I really like that.
When you bend the beak like they do in China, it's it
weakens it.
Now, you know, I don't have a real problem messing up Chinese hooks, but occasionally you bring one back and that thing's destroyed. I think that probably eliminates some of that.
See, we started out and I was using the Dale's 12s.
Yeah, those are great hooks too. And I would say the Dale's 12s, if I probably got some laying around. Dale's 12s are very similar to this. It's a double.
They just got a longer shank.
Yeah. A lighter shank. It's like a Daiichi or a
I know which one you're talking about.
The drag, hell, I used to use them 15, 20 years ago. It's a thin wired circle demon or something like that. I like all John's hooks. They're definitely, he nailed it on those hooks. So.
Oh, definitely. And for what they are, if they're the Japan steel, you won't never have to worry about them.
Facebook user said those are heavy and no offset on the eye. Mustad has great hooks as well. So,
which everybody knows, and most of these hooks are close to the same of what everybody's running.
Yeah, so you can spend more and you can buy an American, an Australian, a Japanese hook. I think that even let's see, where's the other ones made? Is it Norway?
I think it is Norway.
So those are going to be superior quality. If you look at the steel under a micron microscope, you won't see all the imperfections that you will with China. But hey, a lot of the Chinese hooks I've used, when I'm using the right size, it's not like I'm losing a bunch of fish on them. You got to keep an eye on the hook point, make sure they're working.
And around the eye, like making sure that they're clean in that eye where that leader line's going.
Yeah. That's one thing I was talking with John about this last deal. Is his eyes are all closed. You can't slide even a sheet of paper through that where that eye.
I like that.
It's almost welded. So that is definitely something. But you got to pay for quality.
That's right. Turn that light off. Ain't no bad.
He's using 5 different hooks. I think.
I've got 3 different sizes. Well, actually 4.
I was telling somebody today I could go find hooks from 10 different companies that would do me right.
There's so many hooks out.
The company, I love Jamie and Rebecca, so I'm going to support them. They support me back, so I'd be crazy not to try to help them.
Oh yeah, that's why Matt's been really one of the biggest supporters of us. So it's like we run. Mad Cats is a one-stop shop, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's getting there quick. I just got this hog scale. I think you got one too.
I ain't even opened this thing yet, but I'm trying to tonight.
Get you one, man. One thing I noticed, because I put it up against my other 3 scales, like I really needed this. But if Mad Cats is doing it, they're probably doing it right.
I like the brightness.
So, man, it's super bright
and it glows at night on the buttons.
Back here like this, I can't even see it. This one I can see. So we'll see when the daylight and all that.
Well, the only thing I didn't like about the whisker seekers that I have is like we left the boat. They got wet one day, and I was thinking they were waterproof.
They're supposed to be.
Yeah, so I ended up getting water in them, and I've never took them apart, which they replaced them for me. But the thing is like, how did it get water in it if they're waterproof?
Yeah.
And then I couldn't weigh a fish. I had to end up calling a buddy to the ramp, putting them in the live well. And I'm like, golly. So
the one thing about the whisker seeker is like you can't hardly see them in daylight.
Yeah, no, they stay like a dark color.
You can't.
They don't have the screen bright.
So that's that was my main thing is I could see the dang thing in daylight, but
like that's not that bright.
Yeah, right.
Like you have to get it up here to even see.
Right.
Like I'm pulling.
Yeah. So here's another thing. It's like when I was weighing them for the Mad Cat's money, I couldn't see. You couldn't see the damn thing to win.
Either that or the light would go out while you're weighing it.
I went and got that's God, what a nightmare. I would have to weigh my stuff like my buddy's like, man, you're gonna weigh that thing 6 times. I'm like, I gotta get it on camera or else I'm
Yeah.
What a beating. So then I went and got an American scale and it works a lot. It worked better, but still not. The screen wasn't quite big enough. This one seems to be the best screen out of all of them. So we'll see.
Well,
because
I like how the buttons are glow in the dark.
Yeah. That's another thing. That damn whisker seeker, you get it. It would be on kilos or like it.
Yeah, you're trying to hit the button and you can't even find the button.
Yeah, so this I think is going to help. We'll see. Our big fish season's here, so or it's about to be here. So hopefully
Yeah.
we'll be winning some Mad Cats money and rides soon.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can get in on that too. We got fall break coming up next week for the kids. So I don't know if we're going to take off a week like we did last year or not, but it's about to come to the end. I do mowing and landscaping for a living, and I get 2 months off in the wintertime.
Oh, heck yeah.
So it's every day I'm either trying to catch bait and going fishing the next day or running a tournament, or there's been days I've just sat out here on the river by myself for 8 to 10 hours, just no
Heck
music
yeah.
on,
Yeah, I
no
don't turn the
music
music
on.
on either. I don't turn that music on either.
This is just where I regain myself and enjoy the peace and quiet.
Yep, that's how well, it's hard to do that sometimes with my son, but
I run that weed eater mowers all day long, and man, I go to sleep at night, and all I can hear is that ringing and vibration and everything else in my head, and I'm like, man, it takes me forever to wind down. So hopefully, come on.
got this cool plaque from Knickknacks Custom Bait Boards.
Yeah, I seen when you got that.
I'm gonna put this on the boat somewhere. I wanted
Gotta
to
be
show
able-
it off tonight.
Now, does that glow in the dark too?
It glows
Or when-
like crazy, man. It'll glow without putting any black light on it. He puts glow in the dark epoxy on there, so when you turn the lights off, it glows for a while.
Yeah.
But it also lights up with UV. So
Yeah, I like UV, but I'm gonna tell you what, during the summer months and when we do fish at night, UV is one of them ones where you don't want to have them on when it's bug season.
yeah, it brings the bugs in.
You go up there to reel down on a fish and just get swamped by the mayflies, mosquitoes, and everything else. Gnats. With the blue lights, they're bad.
I put them up high. It just shines down on the rods. It's kind of away from where I'm at because it definitely draws the bugs in. Anybody that wants those knickknacks, you can go to knickknacksco.com. They also made my custom bait board, so they're pretty sweet for anybody that wants one. There it is.
Yeah, we got the Mad Cats bait board, so.
Yeah, Matt contacted me last week. It's like, give me your bait board guys' contact info. And I don't know what's going to come of that, but those bait boards are epoxy filled with this.
Yeah, I like that.
And it holds up to Texas heat. I'm like, man, I wish they could put that green put that colored stuff on rods and stuff where it holds up to the sun.
Well, I've actually got one of them at the house. I didn't bring it out tonight, but it's in the works. I've got an orange one that is charged by white light or blue light or black light. I haven't really used it as much. I don't know if it's a heavy, medium, or medium, but I think it's a heavy. And I'm not into the heavy rods. I run all medium heavy.
Yeah.
Just for the fact I still got the backbone. I still have that sensitive tip.
Yeah.
So I haven't really used it much. I've used it suspended.
I use a lot of mediums for dragging, but
yeah, that's a buddy of mine. He likes the mediums for dragging. I like medium heavies. It's an all-around rod for dragging, spending. Like I can throw an 8-ounce weight on these.
I got all my medium heavies. I'm thinking about getting another one of these and putting them on the back of my multi-bars so you can see that in the lives.
Yeah, I can put an 8-ounce weight on these medium heavy carbines and they don't even flex hardly.
Jeff said that the middle left rod looks heavy and maybe moving a bit.
I hope so. I ain't been paying attention.
Yeah, that's one thing with flathead fishing. If you ain't paying attention, you miss a lot of it.
Yeah, I can. You'll miss a bite big time. But every one of these are setting in structure because when I go to reel them in, all I feel is the trees and everything dragging on them. I can't believe I ain't got hung up yet. I need one of them to fold over though.
He said that's the one that was moving. The one you checked.
Yeah, so that one was in the drop where I'm throwing back to. So I'm setting in 23 to 25. It's moving on me because I'm floating around. The current's done float up. But I noticed that when I reeled it on it, you could feel it. It's in the drop back there. It's probably about a 31-foot drop, so 4 or 5 foot difference than what I'm sitting in. And it's got a ton of trees in it.
Man, I was expecting you to hang a good one tonight.
I was too,
I
but
we'll
you
go
know.
off the live and you'll probably smoke one.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. When we go off, I'll end up moving up a little bit because I'm gonna stay out probably till about 10, and my old lady's probably gonna kill me, but oh well. Once I get off here, I'm gonna move around and see if I can't find something. Too much moving, I don't want to reel all. I'm reeling 8 rods up by myself, so.
Facebook user said, "Caution, fat girls on board." That's the sign I'll have made.
That's right. Fat girls everywhere.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this bite we're fixing to get. So,
yeah, that's the only thing with the carbines. I haven't caught one over 50 yet. I think the biggest I've caught on the carbines is like a 48 or 46. I can't remember. I haven't caught very many.
Man, for us, you can't hardly even catch big fish in the summer. I mean, we've been able to catch some decent fish every trip, but maybe one trip. But Texas is, man, it's difficult to catch big fish in the summer.
It's difficult here too. At least the water's up more than it is usually. Like right now, we're setting our winter pool level is 356 feet above sea level, and right now it's sitting at 353. So all our ramps are really low. The water's real low. Like a lot of the structure I like fishing is out of the water.
Yeah. Yeah, our lake's super low right now. I might even have to go to a different ramp this weekend. Because
like when
last trip it was inches before where I wasn't going to be able to use that ramp. So.
Yeah, same way was this past Saturday. We was at the dam, and our dam, Cheatham Dam, is really shallow dam. Like even up by the generators, you're looking at maybe 12 foot, 15 foot. And then you get the hole right there in the generator. But
it's chaos.
Everything else,
it's chaos, says Brandon. Are those rods carbine Titans?
Yes, they are. Every one of them. You won't see nothing but orange Titans when I'm fishing.
Are you getting rain right now, Elgato? Let me look. So I just got a signal on my phone that said lightning strike within 3 miles. No rain, but it smells rainy. It hadn't rained here at Drop yet, but maybe we're about to get it because it smells good out there.
Yeah, I need to put this hog pen net to work over here.
How you like that thing?
I like it a lot. Which I kept so we had a Ranger net before and a RS net before that. And, the RS net had the extendable handle.
That's what I use. And when you're dragging out the back, that's freaking pretty handy little feature.
Yeah, so we actually got rid of the RS net and we found a Ranger net. We was waiting for Matt to come out with the net. So it took a little bit longer than expected, but so we ended up buying a Ranger net. Well, the Ranger net had the extendable handle on it still. I think it reaches out at like 88 inches. It's ridiculous. It's like, I'm pretty sure it's like 13 or 14 foot extended. So, yeah, and like me by myself in this current, I need something that I can get out there with one hand and not have to worry about that fish. So I took the fiberglass handle off the hog net. When I come fishing by myself, I put on the Ranger net handle where I can still extend it. So a Ranger net handle actually fit in it perfectly, and I can extend it out.
So the hog pin, it doesn't extend out. Like you got to have the fish pretty close to the boat.
You don't have to have it pretty close. It's your normal, what would I say, 4 or 5 foot long on the handle.
Yeah.
But like with Brian here, it's fine.
Right.
I'll be able to. But our boat's so deep. When I go to net a fish off the side of the boat right now, it's probably a 3 foot drop to the water.
Yeah.
When I stand in my boat, the side rails are up to my waist, and I'm 6 foot tall.
Well, everything Madcats does is pretty good. So.
Well, I like the way the flat.
It's flat on the bottom.
Well, on the tip of the net where you go to dip it, it's flat. Yeah. So straight across. It doesn't have the circle. It's straight across. I really like that, especially in current. It goes in the water good. The net's not dragging you down.
Yeah.
You pick it up, it's cutting through the water instead of getting drugged.
So is that complaint with the RS? Because I know you used to use the RS net.
The RS net is really heavy.
Yeah, I hear guys say that. So current, I mean, I'm like, well, when I weigh the thing, it's like not. I got a 65 pounder in the net. My net's only, 5-6 pounds. Like,
it's the handle. That extendable handle is really heavy. Being a double feature like that, but I didn't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it.
I just like a lighter net like that, especially when I'm out by myself.
Yeah.
Something I can grab real quick and I ain't got to worry about, oh, God, man, this thing's heavy. And trying to pull in a 60-pound flathead.
But here's the thing with the light net. When you throw that thing in the floorboard and you get another fish on and then you step back into that thing, what's it going to do? Because my Barrett nets all got bent to hell from that.
So I haven't had no problem with that. I'm pretty cautious about leaving my net somewhere in the wrong area. But this weekend, we actually put 2 flatheads in that net at one time off the back of the boat. So that was pretty neat.
My thing is I fish I'm fishing with my son, which is pretty much like fishing by yourself, or actually it's a handicap. It's like fishing with one hand. But sometimes you get, hell, I've had up to 6 big fish in the boat at the same time. There's just chaos everywhere. That you get the net, you get it in the boat. You don't even have time to get it out of the net. You just throw the thing down and you're on another fish. And that's when mine gets on, is when I'm really hammering them good. And,
because you ain't worried about that net at the time. You're worried about that rod and reel.
You're like, I wonder which one's the biggest. And I hope I grabbed it. I hope I got onto the biggest one next,
Yeah.
let's hurry up and get this one in before we lose the other one, because the other one might be bigger.
Well, it's like all these guys that went down and fished the King Cat Trail down in Louisiana.
That was crazy.
Man, that 2,500 pounds of fish in a day running out of bait, that's unreal. When you get done and say, I'm done, I don't want to reel no more fish in, you know you've had a damn good day. You go home and go to sleep after that one.
Yeah, that's some special water down there. I guess they like that brackish water. I don't know.
Well, something about a big grain bin or something.
Really?
Yeah, they were talking about it the other day. It's like a big grain bin area down there. It's grain season.
Huh.
Which I should have shot down to the grain bins today. We got a grain bin probably, I don't know, a couple miles from the ramp, my hometown ramp by here. But I've never had no luck down there.
Huh, grain bin. I guess that brings in the bait fish.
Well, you know, they eat anything. I've seen them catfish down in Gunnersville eat that eel grass. You put them in a live well and they just spit it out.
I've seen them with all kinds of weird stuff. I've seen them spit up hundreds of ladybugs. I'm like, what? Ladybugs? Where do you find that many ladybugs? But I don't know. I guess there was a ladybug hatch and they were feeding on those things. And
I've seen them spit out mayflies.
Yeah, June bugs, grasshoppers.
Yeah.
Hell, I've seen them spit out a small cormorant, water bird.
I've had them put out big Asian carp. You'd be like, how did this fish even eat this thing? It's as big as he is.
Yeah, well, I saw about a 50-pound blue floating last year upside down, dead, and it had a 10-pound black bass lodged in its gullet, just in the gullet of its throat. It had gotten that thing in there, but it couldn't quite get it down, and it ended that fish. It's like, damn.
Yeah, he a little bit more hungry than he thought.
Like, damn, that thing tried to eat a 10-pound. That's a fifth of his weight in one meal. So they eat big bait.
No, that's unreal what you see, especially tournament fishing and putting these fish in these live wells. When you go to open that live well to check on them, and it's like, really?
You don't know what's going to be in there.
What is that? Where did that come from? And it'd be anything, common carp, eel, whatever it is. It's like, how did this little thing eat this? Like, come on. They're eating things as big as their body.
Yeah, they are.
And then I'm over here going, I need to downsize my bait some. And then I see that and I'm like, no. No downsizing for me. I will downsize in the wintertime.
See, that's the opposite for us because, like, when I started going big, I fought it for a long time. And a lot of my really high level guys are like, got to go bigger because it's going to eliminate some of those smaller ones. If there's smaller ones eating it, your rods are out of the water while you could have missed a good one. But when I started switching is when I started seeing what they were throwing up on the deck. So I started using bait that's that size.
Yeah, and definitely like
it's larger. The bait that they're throwing up gets larger.
And just think about that.
40 pounders
also
start throwing up fish that are like 8-10 inches. So I'm like, okay, to get 40 pounders, you need a pretty good size chunk on there. Now a little baits will catch the biggest fish in the lake, but
elephant usually will eat a peanut every once in a while.
Yeah, but also, I mean, I do fish with variety of size when I'm dragging, and 95% of the time, my biggest fish are coming off of a big bait.
So that was the thing when we had that tournament and we weighed that 130 pounds with two fish. My buddy, he runs a double hook rig. It doesn't matter when or where. He's got one double hook rig. So he set out, we marked these two fish and one was on his side, one was on my side. And he threw out small bait on one side and then threw out this gigantic half skipjack on the double hook rig. Well, he caught that one. It was 52 pounds. Well, as soon as I seen what it was caught on, I reeled one of mine in, changed everything over. And it wasn't 5 minutes after I changed over to that double hook rig and half skipjack that 78 pounder hit.
Yeah. I
And
believe it, man.
it's crazy what you see like that, just to catch one, see what it hit, and to be able to throw back out with the same thing and catch another one like that. Then it's just a pattern.
Yeah, my buddy, or a guy that I helped build my confidence in big baits was like, all right, so today we got 2 carp heads that we're going to throw out. He gets bait from the bow fisherman. He's like, got 2 carp heads, and each one's 4 pounds. I'm like, okay, 4-pound carp, the head of a 4-pound carp. He's like, no, these are 4-pound carp heads. These come off big carp, and we're going to throw them. He's like, we're either going to catch something giant or we're not going to catch anything. These are for fish that are over 60 pounds. So, but sure enough, we caught like a 74 pounder off that 4-pound carp head.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, and he's one of the best anglers in Texas. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, I like how you're going big. I want to start trying to do that. And when he goes big, he goes really big because,
now
a 4-pound carp head, you're not going to catch anything under about 50 pounds. But, that 50 pounder tried to eat a 10-pound black bass. But,
well, I will say this: a 30-pound flathead will probably eat a 4-pound head off one of them. They got the mouth of unreal. I've seen a 5-pound flathead eat a bluegill the size of your palm.
My big baits in the winter are about 1.5 pounds, I would say. Maybe a pound to 1.5 pounds. Sometimes 2 pounds if I'm really, but that's a whole fish. I trim the fins all off. It's just the signature of it. I put a 12-aught in the nose and a 10-aught behind the dorsal fin. I like to fillet mine down one side, and I'll take the fillet and I'll use that, and then I'll use the whole other piece. My buddies are like, "You're gonna throw that?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" And you can't even cast it; you just kind of gotta pitch it out there, but
lob it out.
But you'd be surprised at the size of fish that you can catch off of those. I mean, you can get teeners off of a giant 10-inch bait.
Oh yeah, just depending on where they grab the bait at the time.
Yeah.
If they grab it by that hook, it's going to get them.
Yeah, and they take it. They can get that thing down. They don't have a problem getting. And on a certain day, they'll inhale that thing.
Oh yeah.
What it does is it eliminates the eaters.
Yeah, that's me. I'm trophy catfishing. I'm not out for eaters. I put everything back in the river. I want my next generation to be able to catch what I'm catching now.
Yeah, that's how we do it. I think that's the right way. We starting about now, we don't generally catch anything under 20 pounds. As soon as we get a first good cold front with some rain, it's 20 pounds. If we do get one, it's like maybe 18. Our smallest will be like 18, 17 pounds. But everything after that, we don't have a ton of giants here. Our fish are, good fish here are 20 to 40 pounds. And we on our boat, we do catch a lot of 50s and 60s and 70s, but that's not for a lot of guys here, that's a lifetime fish, or maybe one of those a year. It's not like Alabama or Hell, some of that water y'all are around's got a bunch of giants in it if you know where to go.
Well, I know there's one giant here.
Yeah.
There's definitely one giant here.
I wonder
That's
where
for
that one
sure.
went.
I don't know. I think somebody put a tracker on that thing. We're gonna have to track him down. I'm gonna need him in about another 9 months.
Yeah, that thing will be probably another 3 or 4 pounds bigger.
Especially now after post spawn, you think it ain't no telling what it's grew already.
I wonder what that thing weighs in February where they're just gorged and their metabolism slowed down. I mean, our fish gained 20% weight. I mean, a fish right after spawn here weighs a lot less than a winter fish. They're just gorged in the winter, full, fat, thick. I wonder what that thing weighs at its best time of year.
Well, what got me is we're pretty sure that was the same fish that was caught just by the markings on its belly and stuff. Is what's crazy in 9 months gaining what I think it was like 4.5 inches or so and 4 pounds, or 3.5 inches and 4 pounds. But like I told Micah, I said, man, you can have that blue record all you want. I said, I'm after that flathead record.
I bet one of you boys gets that thing.
Man, it's up there. The flathead record for Tennessee is 85.15, I think.
Yeah.
Biggest I've seen come out of the Cumberland, I think, was 78 or 6 that I've seen.
Uh-huh.
But it's in here growing. I know that. There's plenty of shad for them to eat right now because I'm just sitting over here watching them. That's probably why I'm not getting no bites. I need to go find somewhere where there ain't no bait.
The first supersized catfish was caught here in Texas. I think it was 2004, something like that. It's when that first really supersized blue cat was caught. I think it was 123 pounds.
Yeah.
Now that thing's been broken a bunch, but or not a bunch, but Virginia and Alabama's got a bunch of 100-pounders that get caught. I don't know what their record is now. It's right around 120 pounds, I think. But that one that was caught in Texas in 2004, that was like a unicorn fish. We rarely get one over 100 pounds come out of Texas.
Yeah, I think before Micah broke it back in September the first time, the record was like 112, and it was back in either 96 or 98. I can't remember. But it was in that same general area of where that one was. It might have been a 5 or 10 mile radius from where it was originally caught back in 98.
It's got good genetics, probably a lot of food source is good.
Yeah, just the commercial fishermen, man, they tore this river up pretty good, which is getting a lot better.
Well, hopefully they can get some of that taken care of. I know it gets a little better each year, but it doesn't take too many guys doing it the wrong way to screw it up for everybody.
Oh yeah.
It's Chaos says, you ever try one of those fly catfish stinger hooks under your main bait? Not really sure what that is. I always put my stinger hook in the bait because I'm looking for when I'm catching one on the stinger rig, I'm looking for the injury bite. And like a blue cat, what they'll do is when they think something's alive, they'll come up and bite the back half of the bait and try to crush it to injure it before they eat it. Now, they may hold it in their mouth or they may let it go and then come back and try to eat it again. I think the stinger hook the stinger rig for me is for the injury bite fish. A lot of guys are like, oh, it's a short strike. I guess you could call it that. I call it an injury bite. And it's catfish are a lot like sharks. When they think something's alive, to minimize their own injury or whatever, they come up and take a big, giant, crushing bite. And the way I know that they do that is because I was using whole baits, and when they would come injury bite, I could see the bite mark on my big bait, and then the eyeballs of whatever I was using were like blown out. So I know something's coming up. It's not just chewing. It is a big,
crushing it.
Hard crush.
But I know what he's talking about. Kayak catfisherman loves using them stinger flies. So he suspends though.
To come.
I've seen him catch some. I've seen him catch some bigger fish on them, but I don't know if it's just because they're running a stinger fly. It's like a fly type jig, but on a bigger hook, bigger weight, and it looks like a fly, big fly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just intriguing them on the flash or what, but they're going to see that bait.
Like a teaser. Well, saltwater guys will use a teaser rig. So it's got like a jig style, a skirt with mylar.
Yeah.
Just, you put that, my buddy uses them, and he's like, try one, man. It actually works pretty good. And I've used them, and I caught a lot of fish on them. I just kind of got away from it, but it's like a skirt from from what I remember, it was like for using like a jigging pig, and you put a skirt on that thing so that your jig, when you're bass fishing, has some action. It looks like a live fish. Now, when you put a fly on there, I don't know that that's the same, but
it's kind of like that, I guess, with the skirt, but it's made out. It looks like it's made out of like a feather type deal.
Yeah.
What I've seen on some of the products that's out right now on that, but they got a pretty good size hook, and I think it would work great for like what they use it for mainly is suspending over structure, stuff like that, off the ledge.
A buddy Jeff says,
for me, anchor fishing.
Buddy Jeff says you keep your drag locked down tight when fishing wood and structure.
No, I do not.
In case they grab it, you want them to be able to pull some drag.
Yeah, especially you get a 50+ pound flathead, you want that thing to be able to go. You don't want it locked down, because the pull off of a flathead is 10 times harder than a blue would ever think about. Now, I've had blues fight good, but I've never had a blue pull as hard as a flathead can pull.
Yeah. And when they pull that hard, what that's minimizing, Jeff, is, for instance, let's say you don't get the perfect hook set, and it's skin hooked a little bit, or you don't get it all the way around the tooth patch. If it can pull drag, you can still get that fish in the boat. If you got the drag locked down, or it's not unlike when you get a big fish close to the boat and you don't have your drag set right. If it's not hooked properly, a big fish can rip a hook out of flesh. So if it's not around the tooth patch, or if it's not hooked perfectly behind that meaty part in the corner, they'll just rip. As soon as they realize what's going on, they will just rip that thing right out of their flesh. So,
and like flathead fishing, for me, a flathead won't start really fighting until it's straight up and down with the boat and you're trying to get it off that bottom. And that's where I want because I run that mono, I want that mono to be able to not stretch completely and lose that memory in it. I want it to be able to pull, let him stay down there as long as he wants to, and then you'll feel him start tiring out, and that's when you're going to be able to start cranking on him.
He was thinking to keep it from running deeper in the cover. I think now
For
he can speak
flathead,
for himself, but I think that you got to be quick on the trigger when you're flathead fishing. You got to be able to
definitely.
get to that rod quick to control where he's going, to try to control where he's going.
And I will. I've used my thumb before, like when I'm in situations like that, and I know he's headed back towards structure. I'll use my thumb and pull on him until I can feel him come out or get away from it. But for me, looking at the graph, I'm not just looking for fish. I'm looking at that structure, how it's laying on the ground,
Yeah.
how it's laying behind me. So I know when a fish does hit, hey, I've got 90 feet back there. I've got a log laying there sideways. Let me get him out of there real quick. I'll use my thumb like that, but I still want to keep my drag loose. Not terribly loose.
No, but 5-6 pounds of drag. I mean, it's pretty loose, but it's not super tight either. I think learning that drag will definitely help you catch your biggest fish. I used to keep a tight drag, but when I would get one that's really special, I would lose it damn near like over half the time. I would lose the thing.
Yeah, now I've gotten on the boat. My brother's bad about it. He'll loosen that drag up pretty good, and he'll forget about it. And then you go to reel down on a flathead, and you ain't got no reel.
Yeah,
you're spinning. You done spooked that fish.
Yeah, but if I do that as well too. But you can still get that fish if you realize quick enough what the hell you did.
Yeah,
you can thumb that thing and set the hook if you get it out of that rod holder quick enough. That is something that over time you're like, damn it, I loosened the drag too much. But if you don't have a lot of experience, you'll lose that one. But
definitely.
A long time, exactly when that thing starts spinning. It's almost like an instant reaction to put your thumb on that thing. Go ahead.
I can tell when mine's too loose, especially when I hook into a good one. I'll be like, you can feel it in that reel. Every crank you do, you'll feel it slip.
Yeah,
it's not really.
And guy, my buddy's like, I'm losing every one of these, Chris, and you're getting every damn one. I'm like, well, pay attention.
That's like me trying to bump, man. I tried bumping one time. All these reels are right-handed reels that I was using, and I like my rod to be in my right hand, and I'm sitting here bumping, trying to figure it out. I'm going through there bumping. I feel it. Well, I don't know what to do. I'm over here trying to crank with my left hand and get him. I couldn't never catch a fish bumping because I couldn't get it down right. I'm over here trying to crank with my left hand, bump with my right hand. I need a left-handed reel for this because I can't do nothing with my left hand. It's just might as well just be hanging off my body for no reason. I can hold it now when I'm holding a big fish, and the left hand comes in handy. But if it's anything to do with holding a rod, besides that, I want it to be in my right hand, my dominant hand, and I'll reel with the left hand. All my bait rods, I cast with my right arm and reel with my left. And my brother's backwards. He casts with his right and then moves it to his left and reels with his right. And I'm like, that's too much work, man. Just reel with your left. And he can't get it figured out. So
I cast with my right and then reel with my right.
See, that's what Brian does.
Isn't that the normal way? That's the normal way, though, right?
Well, when I'm bait fishing, say you're bass fishing. Yeah.
Okay, so like a spinning rod.
Yeah, a spinning rod, on a spinning rod. Okay. That's what he does. He casts with his right, and then he throws it over in his left hand, and reels with his right. That's too much movement, too much. I can't do that. I have to have it where I can jig with my right hand and reel with my left. I just got a better feel for it like that.
Jeff says he backs it off once he knows he's out of cover, and I'm more like Brandon. I give mine pretty. I keep my drag fairly loose, and I use my thumb. I thumb that spool, and then. But the reason I do that is You get a lot of those big fish to the boat before they really know what's going on, and if that thing's not hooked perfectly, I like that drag to be super loose. I don't want to have to quickly loosen my drag. Now, I will tighten it if I see that it's hooked perfect. I do that, but I learned that trick from a guy who's probably the best angler, one of our top anglers here in Texas, and he said, "You want to catch more big fish? Loosen that drag." And you'll stop losing a lot of those that right when they see you, they're like, "Holy crap, I'm out of here." And then you lose it right when you see it. You're like, he's gone.
Well, that's like Paula asking earlier why I was 90 feet back from a fish throwing to him like that. It's one of the reasons is for when I'm flathead fishing like that is I got enough slack in my line that when that flathead comes up and grabs that bait, he's got some line to run with before he feels that 8-ounce weight pick up off the bottom.
But I think you want to have just enough tension where the hook point it sets into the meat, but the hook's not fully set yet. They can still rip that thing, but it's just tight enough where it buries a little bit, and then when you pick that thing up or when you crank down, it's burying a little bit more, but then you got to go ahead and
give it that old hammerback.
Yeah, you got to go ahead and lean back. I mean, guys like me, my buddy's like, "Dan, you catch every damn one of these, man. I'm losing half." I'm like, there's a trick. I mean, you're letting the rod load up. That puts the point into the flesh, right? Then you crank down, and that go ahead and sinks the barb in. But it ain't done. At that point, you need to pick the rod up, hoe off into it, sink that hook into the flesh, and bury that thing before you start trying to bring it in. And my buddy's like, he thinks it's hooked, and he puts the rod tip down, and I'm like, he loses the fish. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Get these
definitely
fish in the boat, buddy. You're killing me losing these things. So.
I don't know. It's looking dead to me out here tonight.
Well,
I ain't even getting channel kit bit.
Even if you got a bite, you wouldn't have known it.
I'm over here looking at the rods in them, like mirrored the video, but I can't see them good enough to tell if they're getting bit by a flathead. Because, man, a flathead, I'm going to tell you, 1 to 2 inches on a bend, I'll reel down on them.
Yeah.
You give me about a 2-inch bend on that rod, I'll reel down on it.
My buddy Jeff says he's watching. He's been watching your rods.
Well, you definitely can see them, that's for sure.
They look good, man. They look real good.
Yeah, I just want one of them. It looked better with one of them bent over.
I like how you got them spread. The spread looks pretty even.
Yeah, I'm OCD about that.
I like mine spread just a certain way too.
Yeah, I'll sit back there. When I put the multi-bars on, I put the Smackdown rider holders up there, and I put a rod in every rod holder at the house and spaced them out where I knew they was going to be perfect with the reels sitting in it. Because I hate it when you got one closer, one further apart.
So Clayton says he's had decent fish come off while they're pulling drag. feel like sometimes it's just barely whisker hooked and it will come off no matter how your drag is set. So that's true. I think the aggressive offset will help some of that where it buries a little bit deeper into the meat. But then the light drag is what's going to help you get those whisker hooked bigger fish to the boat. Whereas if you don't have the drag set right, as soon as he gets right next to the boat, and I'm sure Brandon will agree, you've lost a lot. A lot of guys get a giant fish, really good fish, some of the best fish of your life, you lose, and guys say, "Oh, that's a fish tail," but big fish got different tricks, and when they get close to the boat, if he's not hooked perfectly, he can rip that hook right out of the flesh if it's not hooked good. So,
especially on a blue cat, they
yeah,
do all that rolling, head shaking.
the big one's got a different type of roll too. I've noticed once they get up to 40, 50 pounds and bigger, they start doing like a figure
That,
eight type deal where they turn
yeah,
backwards, where that hook is all of a sudden your line is turned backwards, and then they do. It's like, damn, that thing's trying to get me
and
off.
like he's playing in the circus or something down there.
Yeah, whereas one smaller than that, they don't do that. They're just
Just head shake mainly.
yeah, it's that upside down figure eight twist turn. He's out of here move.
Yeah, it's crazy on what a blue to a flathead to a channel. All the fights are different. All the way they roll, the way they pull. I've had blues I could have swore were flatheads. They're just straight up and down with the boat, pulling. They're not head shaking. They're not turning. And I'll be over here telling my brother, "Oh yeah, I done got me a good flathead." Oh man, that's a damn blue. Really? I could have swore it was a flathead.
I think there
But
might
it,
either be a storm blowing in or it's my dog. And my dogs are like, I think there's a storm coming. They're nervous.
yeah, we're supposed to have rain. Is it tomorrow? I think we're supposed to get rain in the morning. I don't know if I'll be working or not, so I might just stay out here for a little bit later. I
Yeah,
got plenty of bait.
my buddy Jeff says he's got his cold weather gear ready. I just checked mine out too, Jeff. I'm like, this cold weather gear is expensive. You know, you're a real catfisherman when your most expensive suit is your rain gear.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, definitely. I'm
this
wearing
is,
duck.
I think
I
this
might.
is my third or fourth season. This will probably be my fourth. My hell, I don't know. It's either 3 or 4 years. And when you fish every week, you have to wash this crap. It's just you can't just leave it. I mean, I guess some guys do just let it accumulate slime, but they get nasty and
It
stinky, and
won't come off if you leave it too long.
that's for sure. That's for sure. I've learned to soak mine in the tub. Like when I get home that night, I'll throw it in the tub in hot water. I'll leave it soaking with detergent overnight, and then the next morning I'll throw it in the washing machine and I'll wash it twice. Now that's hard on high end fishing gear.
Oh yeah.
It just don't last. So, and I've tried all different brands. It's all the same. It's the tape seams. Those tape seams come unglued and
Uh
they
huh.
fall apart from the inside. I'm like, can't y'all make the inside out of the outside, the inside out of the outside? Why y'all got to put all these seams and shit? You
Yeah,
know?
I don't have a lot of rain gear. Should I say thick stuff like that for the winter? My main winter stuff is duck. We go. I go
Yeah,
look
yeah,
at duck overalls and stuff like that, coveralls, and insulated muck boots
yeah.
and a
So
heater.
I use like a 3 season type rain. It's like rain gear, and it's expensive stuff. And but then I layer up underneath. So
Yeah, no, I come out here.
Cold in the morning, but by noon it could be 50, and you can't be wearing the same crap.
Yeah, no, you got to be able to come out of it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I haven't got done yet. I got to get my full enclosure made.
Yeah, I'm hung out there in the elements, so.
Which I've got the big deep the window and stuff, but I got a little propane tank I'll bring out for a little while. But when that wind gets to ripping, it sure is nice to have an enclosure.
Yeah, there's times when I'm like, dang, I sure wish I had one. I could just kind of chill out, hang out here. But I've been doing this so long out in this weather. It's guys like, man, I can't believe you're fishing out in that stuff. It's actually the winter fishing's pleasant. Down to about I'd say probably around 28 degrees. Anything below that starts getting uncomfortable, but it's all about your gear. And people snow ski. You could be comfortable if you got the right gear. If you got the wrong gear, it's like the most miserable freaking thing you could ever do, being out there on the water.
So when it was in February, a few years back, one of the pro staff groups with Mad Cats, Cody Harney, he used to live up here in Clarksville with us. Well, at first he had a little low bass boat, and that was about the time I started running Mad Cat, and he was still using the old ugly stick, catfish ugly sticks. And he asked me if I wanted to go out fishing with him one day. It's like 17 degrees outside, and we're on this low bass boat with no windshields, no nothing. And we're up here in the Red River, which is a little river off the Cumberland River here. And we're in there. We're all the way back up in there. And I'd have never thought being in that little bitty river, because I'm talking about it probably ain't 50 yards wide. It probably ain't 30 yards wide. And we're off in there. It's been all day. We caught some channel cats. I'm freezing. It's like negative. It feels like negative with the wind by then. The end of the day, last spot, I threw out all heads, and he looked at me crazy and was like, man, that big a bait? I said, oh, yeah, it's bigger. Go home now. This is the last spot. Well, I ended up bird nesting one of my rods, or two of them. I got one tangled in one and one bird nested all together or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And I had one rod left out, and it was the crush. I had just got the crush rods. And this is when he became a Mad Cats fan. I had my PB of a 55-pound blue hit on that rod.
The one that was bird
17 degrees. I warmed up the quickest I've ever warmed up catching that fish. That was probably one of the best days of fishing I've ever been out. We caught channels all day, caught little dinks, and then the end of the day, the last spot, 3 o'clock, was fixing to get ready to go home. 55-pound blue. I'd have never thought it came out of that little bitty river.
Hell yeah.
But yeah.
Yep, my buddies are like, man, we're going to fish. It's 20 degrees. It's 19 degrees today. I'm like, yeah, but you're going to warm up 5 minutes in when we hang our first big fish, and it's going to be a big fish day. And they're like, sure enough, we start hanging them like while their planer boards are going out, they're like getting taken down. And those are the best kinds of days. You're not thinking about any cold on a day like that. Now, there's occasionally a day where it's super cold, and the day the front's hitting can be freaking gruesome. But
yeah, when you got ice on your fishing line reeling in,
yeah,
you know it's cold. You got rods sticking to the rod holders.
If I know it's going to be cold that morning, I generally I got bait before, because that can really screw you trying to get bait when the water, when your deck's freezing and your net's frozen up, and not good. But my buddy Jeff,
that was
My buddy Jeff says a wind rider makes an insulated ice fishing rain gear that floats, and he bought him a set for high dollar. So
Yeah, no, them things are high dollar. I looked at them. Good
they're high
God.
dollar. And in Texas, you can only use them about 2 weeks out of the year here. So I layer up. I don't get cold. I know I've been on the water enough to know what I need to have to be comfortable, and then I peel off from there. So
Yeah,
I got
no, and I
5
keep,
different sets of thermal underwear depending on how cold it is going to be outside, and then I layer on top of that.
yeah, that's my main thing is layering up. Socks mainly. If my feet get cold,
Yeah,
I'm
your
cold
feet get
all
cold,
over.
your hands get cold, it's over.
Yep.
Uh,
That's the main thing is keeping your feet warm for me.
So layers, and you don't want to be sweating either, because you sweat, you freeze your ass off. Or if you do sweat, you want to have wicking type clothes. Now, when we were kids, it was all cotton clothes, and oh yeah, everybody wears cotton. Well, hell, you'll freeze your ass off sweating in cotton.
Cotton and blue jeans.
Yeah, you'll freeze your ass off. It'll be the most miserable day of fishing you ever been on. So,
Yeah, no, I can't do that. Once my feet get cold, I'm done.
yeah, me too. Me too. I've learned to not only that, but I'll bring some extra stuff because your feet can get wet, your hands can get wet. Any of that, those two things get wet. You need to get some dry stuff on, or you
Yeah.
can't hardly recover from it. It's
I
just
even looked at this past winter, I was looking at waterproof gloves, which I
yeah.
found a few good pairs, but I
So I
can't
use
find.
Arctic Ice. I think are the ones I use. They're a neoprene glove, but it's got like uh, the inside is kind of, I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a felt type inside. Uh,
Yeah,
those work good. Like for instance, if you have to go get bait and it's 25 degrees, those will save your ass. They keep your hands dry and you can get bait, and because you'll be ruined your whole day if you freeze your hands off right at the beginning. I can't get my boards out. I can't clip them on. I can't get bait on the hook.
yeah, no, yeah, too big of a glove. That's the only thing I hated about gloves like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the ones
yeah,
I did find and used and tried last year, it was like they was where I've got so many calluses on my hand and that furry, felty stuff. I'd stick my hands in them, but it's like as soon as I go pull my hand out, the liner would come with the glove.
yeah,
So the
yeah.
liner would come.
I think they're Arctic Ice. Try those. They're not that expensive either. I get them on Amazon. They're the best ones I've used. You can throw a cast net. You can hook your baits.
Heck yeah, I'll have to
I
definitely
think
look
it's
at them.
starting to rain here.
Yeah, I was hoping this front before it come here, we'd have some decent bites, but hell, I ain't even seen a channel cat or a gar bite, so that's unusual.
They knew you were on camera tonight, so they gave you the feel.
I told my brother that a long time ago. We've been on TikTok Live, we've been on Facebook Live, and it's like every time we choose to do something live, it's like, oh yeah, y'all are on TV or something like that. No, we
Yeah,
ain't
you
biting, we're hiding.
got the live curse.
Yeah, the live curse, that is for sure. Yeah, I
We
don't
start
think we
going
caught one.
live about this time of year on every one of our trips, so it's I got over that live curse. One thing I do though is I make sure that I'm on the right fish before I start that damn thing, because I used to
Yeah,
get like, I'm like, damn, I gotta go live, and I would rush my process, uh,
yeah,
because I'm like, I already scheduled it. I got to get on there and go live, and it would screw me. So I've learned going live, it's better to be. But tonight's just a talk show, so
Oh yeah, and that was my main thing. At the house, I'd have had to deal with the kids and the old
Oh, hell
lady
yeah, man.
interrupting
I'm
me.
glad you fished. It's been fun. So, uh,
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad to come on. I'm
yeah,
just over here. I'm looking at my fish finder right now, going, "Why are these fish not biting? Because they are moving. They're
yeah,
very active tonight."
yeah. I fished it. We had a north front hit. It was probably last December, and I was fishing live, and I'm looking at just giant. After there was hundreds of giant fish out in this section where I was in, and we were just like, there goes a 50, there goes a 40, there goes another 50. Guys are like, oh, come on. And I mean, I think we caught 4 fish the whole 7 hours we were out there. They just, thank God we caught those 4.
Yeah,
You just never know, especially going live. It can be a jinx.
yeah. My brother jinxes me anyway, so
He gave you
he
the
told
bad
me.
mojo.
Yeah,
Jeff
he
said
doesn't give me
you
back.
tried kicking.
Yeah, no. He before I went on yesterday when we was bait fishing, he was like, "Yeah, no, you ain't gonna catch nothing. You're on live." I was like, "Oh yeah, you're probably right because every time we go live, we don't catch anything. We be sitting like I'm sitting here looking at them and looking at the shadows off of these fish, and I'm going, I know what they are. That's not gar because that's not a long skinny fish. That's got a belly on it."
Yeah, my buddy fished right after I fished. He's like, man, I didn't catch nothing. I need a stick of dynamite to get these fish. He showed me his graph. He was on fish. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Well,
This
for one thing is
they don't want to
I
play.
I don't play around when it comes to like my whole cutting board is nothing but bodies of skipjack because all I do is cut the head off, lay the damn skipjack on the table, and that's it. I don't even
Yeah,
use the chunks. When it comes to flathead fishing, I don't want them chunks, which they'll hit them. I've had them hit chunks
yeah.
over heads, but I I have more confidence
You
in
like
a
that
big
head
skipjack
better.
head. Yeah, all my big fish have came off big heads. Don't get me wrong, I've had some good fish off of chunks, but usually 40 and under. My big fish have
Yeah,
came off all heads.
yeah. I like the whole body. For some of my biggest fish come off the whole body.
Well,
I
some of
just
these skipjack I got in here are probably 2.5, 3 pounds. So they're
yeah,
about
that's
18.
pretty great, isn't it?
Yeah, for a single
My
hook,
buddies,
that's pretty big.
it just puts a good smile on your face when you hook that thing up. My buddy's like, you're gonna like, are you serious? I'm like, when you got a big bait on when your buddies are like, you're holding it and they're like, God Almighty. I'm
I
like,
took a picture. We was down in Alabama one year, and my brother thought I was crazy for doing this. But the skipjack was from my wrist to the inner elbow piece of bait. I just barely cut the tail off of it on a double hook rig, and he was like, "I got to take a picture of that because the skipjack was as wide as my hand, all the way back damn near to the tail." And he said, "You're crazy." And next thing you know, that's where the big kit fish comes from.
I uh, it's chaos. Says I've strangely had good luck with skipjack tails, and I'll tell you, sometimes
Love
I
them.
run out of bait, and all I got is a bunch of tails left on
I
the
like the way they
table.
do in the water.
I mean, it's the tail of the fish where a lot of fish are coming to attack.
Exactly.
Uh,
I
I,
like suspending them.
I'm like, damn, not most of the time the tail's going in as chum. It's getting slung over off my bait board, but I have learned that if I don't have a lot of bait, I leave the tail on the bait board. And at the end of the day, I might be using those tails. And it turns out they like them tails.
Oh yeah, definitely. I figured that out too. I was one of them guys. Oh no, that tail, throw that in the water. I don't even want that on the board.
Yeah, one thing I think about the tail is sometimes they just might grab the tail part and just rip, and you not catch the fish. So that's part of the thinking, but they definitely they're not scared to eat a tail.
No,
No doubt.
they know it doesn't matter if that thing ain't got blood or slime or oil on it.
Yeah.
They know what bait fish they're eating.
Yeah, they know what they're eating. They got such good senses. They smell. They know exactly what they're about to take a bite out of. So.
Oh yeah, big time.
And guys are like, man, I keep putting fresh on. Like, do we need to? I'm like, hell, that bait's only been in the water for 40 minutes. Hell, I've caught fish with the same bait on 6 hours later, and it caught 10 fish off the one bait. I'm like, you damn sure better not take that bait off there that just caught that fish.
Yeah, the only time I'll swap bait like that is during the summertime when that water's up 85, 90 degrees and current's rolling. It's washing it out more.
Yeah. Usually but I might have one bait that catches 80% of my fish that day. And I'm like, oh, we lost that bait. I'm like, damn, I hope we still catch them. They all coming off this one. So I'm a firm believer, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm like, you
sure.
Throw that suck, piece that thing back together and get it back out there. And then it gets hit again, even though it's just a tattered piece of flopping skin.
Yeah, I've had to hook skipjack, like where I hook them at. Usually, if a good fish hits it, it'll rip that top hook out of the nostril area. Well, I went to the other nostril. Then I've had to go to the hole, putting it through the skull or putting it through the eyeballs.
Yeah, the eyeball socket's ripped out. So then you got to go through the nose. Well, then that side gets ripped out. So you got to switch to the other side. And then that gets ripped out. So you got to go deep through the mouth, up through the top of the cranium, like top of the skull.
Yeah, wrist that little bit of hook sticking out.
I've even had that one get ripped out, or then I got to flip it sideways and go through the two gill plates. And I'm reusing this damn thing as many times as I can.
It's unreal at the bait in my river right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes you can't even find it. It's like, where does it all go? Then some days it's just you can't get away from it.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's thick.
That is unreal at the bait. Like, I wish I would have had some live bait tonight now.
Oh, well. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Exactly. That's all you can do. I got fresh as can be almost. I didn't go catch it tonight. I went and caught it last night, so it's only 24 hours old. But
that's usually fine. I mean, I think anything less than 2 days, I have a lot of bait that I'll get 2 days. I got guide buddies that get me bait in the winter a lot so that I don't have to go fishing before I go fishing. We travel a lot, and I don't generally go to a lake without bait. So it pays to have good friends like that that'll help you. But I've caught gazillions of fish. I am fully confident in 2-day-old bait. 3-day-old bait, I'm thinking I need to get new bait. But I've never 2-day-old bait. I've never had a problem where I thought my bait's not fresh enough. 2-day-old bait to me catches it just as good as 1-day-old bait. So, but I will say 3-day-old bait, you're pushing it.
I will say this on bait, when you're stacking in a cooler like that with ice too, if you're wanting that bait to last you a while, flip them up where that stomach's upside.
Yeah.
And got their back down.
Why do you think that makes them better?
It keeps the blood in their backbone.
Okay.
Keeps that stomach
down at the bottom of it.
Yeah, and keeps them from rotting in their gut right there.
Right. Okay.
That's one of the main things we do with bait to get as many days as possible out of it. is flipping it up on its back, stacking it in the cooler like that, and layering them with ice.
It's Chaos says, do you use live bait like bluegill and bullheads or for flatheads or just skipjack?
We use live. Well, skipjack's so hard to keep alive once you catch them. It's mainly, if you're going to use a live skipjack, you better be at the dam, catch about 3 or 4 of them, and go use them.
Yeah.
But usually we'll use shad live. We'll use bluegill live. I use red horses live. What else? We got the sunfish, what I call the purple and orange.
Yeah.
Pumpkin seeds is what we call them.
Uh-huh.
That's one of my favorites for live fishing with bait is them pumpkin seed sunfish.
They're about one of the most beautiful fish in the fishery.
Yeah, I think flatheads have a thing for them.
Yeah.
They're so shiny, man. They got that real shiny.
Yeah.
Especially
they just look good.
Especially when I'm fishing like real shallow and I've got these baits up on the bank, 3 or 4 foot of water, and that sun's glistening down on the bank in that water, and you got that sunfish over there glistening in the bank, just flapping away. Like some of my biggest flatheads, we was in a tournament one year. It was real windy that day. So the current was good. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't specifically what we wanted with the wind, the way the wind was blowing. So everybody started baitching up on the banks. Well, I ended up having a flathead come out. It was that one actually that you've got the picture of, the one on the dock, the real dark camouflage one. It was that fish. I got to fight that fish in 3 foot of water. You talking about crazy fun. That was one of the craziest catches I've ever caught. My brother's over, oh, it's just a 30-pounder. And I'm like, oh, no, this thing's whipping, tail whipping, going crazy. He's back on the back of the boat. We're all bowed up on the bank. So we're standing off the back of the boat, both of us. And I'm over here watching water come in the back of the boat. I'm going, damn. We got to hurry up and get this fish in the boat, man. This thing's fixing. The transom's going underwater. Both of us standing there. Well, he finally got in the net. I backed up back by the seat. We got the water coming out. Bill's pumping. He goes to reach with that net and pull him up over the side of the boat. He's like, yeah, no, this ain't no 30-pounder. I said, I didn't think it was. We pulled it in. He's like, that might be your new PB. I got to looking at it. We put it in the live well. It's the only fish we caught all day. We ended up taking 3rd place and big fish with that one fish. But it was that fight, man. 2 and 3 foot of water on a flathead that big. That was crazy
stuff when they get up shallow.
Especially them ones that got the flat tail like that. They get the whipping, not having the fork. The flathead's got them spade or flat tails. So he put up a hell of a fight. I just kept going, man, I'm going to lose this. We're right here in 3 foot of water. There's a tree underneath the boat down there. And I'm like, he's just pulling. I get him back up there. He goes straight back out. That's one I will remember for the rest of my life. That was a fun
55-pounder last trip, and that thing, it went airborne like 4 times. It thought it was a black bass or a dolphin. That thing was getting airborne. I'm like, they just don't do that very often. But when you're up shallow, they just want to get away.
Yeah.
We were in 7 foot, so we weren't super shallow, but it was shallow enough where that fish was doing some crazy magical stuff. I'm like, what is this fish think he's doing? So that was cool.
Heck yeah. Well, man, I don't want to get off here, but
I know we've been on for 3 hours. It's crazy, but we appreciate you coming on, buddy. And
Yeah.
we'll do it again. I've enjoyed having you while you're fishing. I know everybody else was having a good time getting to ask you a bunch of questions. So thanks for coming on with us and sharing a little bit. And
I enjoyed it. Maybe next time I can get on a fish, but I'm fixing to go to another hole after this for one more last try.
Good
So
luck.
y'all keep an eye out on Facebook. If I get on one, I'll go live.
That sounds good, man. We'll talk to you soon. I appreciate
All right.
you. All
See
right.
you, bud.
For Brandon Ladd, Elgato Azul TV, Tight Lines, God bless. Azul
Night,
out.
y'all.